Hello everyone, welcome to the session. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, all right. So I think we also had a Madman orientation session today. That was from 4 to 6. So I think it is still going on. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes, okay, and then we'll continue. So I just want students who are taking both to be able to join this session, okay.
So, could I just ask a small doubt before we get started?
Yes, go ahead. Ariman, it was you, right?
Yes,
Go
yes,
ahead.
sir. I'm doing both Mad 1 and Mad 2 projects together. Mad 1, I've already done 30% with it. So, with regards to Mad 2 project, how would you suggest I get started? Because I'm doing the Mad 2 theory session also.
Mat 2 theory, I mean, you're not done with the course, is it?
No, I'm not done. So, I'm doing Mad 2 theory, Mad 1 project, and Mad 2 project all together now.
Okay, and how much do you think you are comfortable with Mad 1 content?
Mad One content, I would say I'm 90% confident. So Mad One, I'm planning to submit it within the first batch itself because in case I need to change something, then I can do
Hmm.
that and submit in the second batch.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I think Mad One, I'm very comfortable.
Okay, and what about topics like APIs and other things? Especially
API,
APIs and SQL Alchemy.
so I would say I want to get a little bit more comfortable with it,
Hmm.
but I have to work a little bit more on that. But other than that, I would say it's okay.
Okay. Okay, fine. See, so the thing is, see, what is recommended in MAD1 project is actually the core requirement of MAD2 basically, in some sense. How's that? In MAD1, the APIs are recommended, right? So generally, we don't focus on implementation of APIs, but in MAD2, you'll have to create APIs anyhow, right?
Okay.
So let's say, what have you decided? Are you going to work on the same question statement or
Y-
two different question
Yes,
statements?
sir. So that is also my this thing. So now because we have both household services and the quiz master to work on, and I'm working on quiz master in Mad One anyways. Do I work on quiz master in this Mad 2 project only, or do I switch to household services, which I did last semester?
Uh, Sir, actually, I am also doing the both project in this term.
Hmm.
I have the same question regarding question statement.
Yeah,
I
see,
mean
so
project statements.
so the thing is, see, one reason why we have two valid question statement for Mat 2 is what happens is you work on Mat 1 question statement and you do all the core requirements. So the basic things required there. So what I asked, right? So basic things that are required there, most of the things you'll work on either on the SQL alchemy part where you'll create the models and the API part, right? So these are the two major things that forms the backend part of Mat2 project. Okay. Now, what happens is while you are creating Mad1 project, if you make some tweaks and some changes into it, that is converting normal controllers into API, you have a good backend, right? While the models and everything can still remain the same for Mad2 project. Okay, so if you're doing both the projects together, you are quite familiar with or kind of quite afresh with the approach that you have followed in Mad1, right? So for example, if I'm doing Mad1 and Mad2 project together, I'll do a Mad2 question statement, Mad1 question statement, let's say that is Quizmaster. Okay, so now that I'm working on Quizmaster, what will happen? I'll be afresh with the models part of it. I know what exactly models I've created, how they're related, and what I've done to relate them. Okay. Secondly, I would know what was the business logic, how did I create APIs, or how did I create the controllers for that matter? Because this is Mad one. I did not create APIs, let's say, but I know very well that I how the controllers were created. So it becomes easy for me to convert that part into API because models will anyway remain same. Okay, you might add one or two models, but the remaining database structure will still remain same. Okay, what exactly is needed and in the form of backend? You convert the controllers into APIs. Okay, so when you do that, in that sense, it becomes easier to switch or to convert the simple controllers into APIs, right? So in that sense, doing the same project, V1 and V2 of the same project is beneficial, right?
So, sir, how much we require to for uh, mat to project in
See,
this
Mat2 will
mat
require
to
all
project?
the way content from till week 11. Okay, so there
Okay.
are certain backend things, right? So advanced backend part is there, which is part of core requirements. We'll get into that. So that you will need. Okay. So answering your question, what I feel is if you're doing both projects together in same term, it's better to work on the same question statement
Okay.
because you just have to create two different versions of it, two different files of it. Okay.
Sir, I mostly completed MAD one project in my previous term, but
Hmm.
due to some reasons I do not submitted that project.
Ah, okay.
Can I
So
now do the in the MAD two for in like household service for MAD two?
you can, that's what, right? So if it is a valid statement, definitely you can work on any of it based on your, based on your, what your thing. I mean, whatever you find easier to implement, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm just giving you my suggestions. What is the, question statement rule say? You can just pick any one of it and work on it, right? So for any reason, if you feel that you're comfortable in converting a MAD 1 into a MAD 2 project, go ahead with that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay, sir.
and so you would say that after I finish submitting my Quizmaster of MAD 1, I start working on MAD 2, right?
Yeah, so you're saying that you're done with the 30%, right? So the remaining 70% is nothing but the backend and models only,
Yes,
right?
sir. So,
Yeah, so
so,
you better work on them together, right? I mean, you create two different repositories, two different projects, but
okay.
let's say you implement that on Mad1 first, so you have a controllers now, and then
Yes,
using the same logic, you convert them into APIs. So you have the same model structure. 90% will remain same, but that 10% here and there because we are adding some backend advanced part of the backend, right? So 90% the models remain same. 80-70% controllers remain same, so you just have to convert, that every controller is either a render template or a redirect, right? So that gets converted into a JSON because you need to convert it into API. So while you're working into them together, you kind of have an idea of what is happening into the code and how do you convert it, right?
okay, sir.
So parallel, if you're working on the back end, work on it parallelly is what I'm suggesting. But let's say there is a gap of, let's say, 1 or 2 terms.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yes,
let the already work project be a separate project. You start with new ideas onto a new project, because first, if you want to convert the same project statement into a new one or a version 2 part of it, you'll have to first understand what is actually there in the code, because you might not remember what happened 1 or 2 terms back, right?
yes,
And converting a forgotten project into a new one is the same headache as, as equal as starting it from the scratch.
okay,
Okay,
sir. Yes,
so that is what you have to decide. Now, one thing I personally feel is if you are pursuing I mean, if you are going to pursue web development only in future, I would suggest go with two different projects, because at the end of the day, you will want to create your profile, right?
yes, sir.
So Mad1 project has different tech stack. Mad2 project has different tech stack. Why to create same project again and again, right? With
Yes,
different project, different question statement will only add up to your profile.
okay.
So there are multiple things, right? Multiple arguments that you can make. Where you fit better is you have to select.
Thank you, sir. Sir, and one last. Actually, I'll let someone else ask the question and then I'll ask it because.
Huh. Okay, fine. So I think the session is over, but if anyway it's not, we are well into, 6:12, 6:15. So we'll start off. So what I'll do is, again, very similar to Madwin project orientation session. This orientation session also will understand the project document, what exactly is there, what are the new things that we have added. Okay. And we'll continue that with some queries of your from the project document. Okay, I think there will be some queries on the Git document, so we'll take that also, and then we will move on to the question statement. Okay, now talking about question statement, I will cover only the quiz one V2 question statement. While there is also household, I'll only cover the quiz V2 question statement. Why is that? Because household I've already covered in my previous orientation. That is orientation of September 24. So I'll add that link also and the timestamp where I've discussed household. Okay, nothing has changed, so I don't find it useful to put time into it in discussing it again. Okay, so in this session, we'll be going into the project document. Okay, understanding what are the new things added. If there are any queries, we'll take that. and then we'll get into the actual project statement. We'll discuss that, what is required, what is not required, what should be your approach, folder structure, plagiarism, all these things we'll discuss. And the question statement that we are working on will start off from the next session. All right. So I'll introduce that question statement to you, and we'll discuss and get into details of what we are going to implement and what part of actual project that caters to. Right. So those things we'll see. Most probably, it is if you have gone through my Mad One session, which I had taken in Jan 2024, I think. So there I had taken a question statement called as logistic management system. So I'll be continuing, most probably I'll be continuing with that. But if it does not, satisfy overall needs of question statement, I might change. Okay. But as of now, let's say I'll be continuing 90%, I'll be continuing with the version 2 part of it. Okay. But the documentation, detailed documentation, as in what we are going to do, what should be the models, how it is different from Mad One, is something we'll start off from the next session. Okay. So that is going to be the agenda.
So,
Yeah.
sir, I just wanted to get my doubt cleared just before we start so that I don't interrupt later on. Sir, I'm doing 4+2, that is 4 courses and 2 projects together. And since you had mentioned earlier that it would that Mat 2 project would cover topics until week 11, if I say I decide to drop this project in the middle of the course, would you suggest doing that or dropping it now itself? Because say I want to drop it near the deadline, it would just waste time, right?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, see, you have since you also have other courses to work on. If you
Yes.
are dropping it now, it would be better because let's say you feel that by 1 week before the deadline, if you feel that okay, I may not be able to finish it and might do it in the next term, then what is the point of investing time here, right?
Yeah.
And
So
again, but see, you use it to your bring it to your use by doing the new question statement. Why is that?
Uh,
Because it will be valid next time. So
so
50% done now, 50% done later.
so
oh,
sir, for the Windows, it is for same for Mad One or Mad Two, or there is a different window timeline for Mad One and Mad Two.
No, same. Windows will be same. Projects, sorry, this Vivas happen parallelly, so no interference, right? You can do that.
Sir,
So
is it
your question
mandatory
is,
to? So sorry, sir. Is it mandatory to do that
yes,
role-based access control in Mat too, sir?
yes, it is. It is a core requirement, right? So we'll get into the core recommended and other features.
Okay, sir.
Also, will the problem statement will change after for the next term?
One will change, one will not, right? So as of now, there are two valid question statement. One is Quizmaster V2 and Household. So in the next term, that is May 25, Quizmaster V2 will still be there along with the new one. So Household will not be valid next term.
Okay, fine. And also one more doubt. I have registered for online bootcamp, and as it said, it will start by 21st, right?
Yes.
And I have not received any mail or anything regarding the timing
Okay, you
or
will
schedule.
receive by, what was the slot you selected? What is the slot?
I think it was morning section.
Morning, right? So you'll get
Yeah,
by evening, right? So you can expect it by
evening, right?
later today. You'll get it.
uh,
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Either
so
Thanks, man.
evening or early morning tomorrow, right? So before the actual time, you will get it.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so it depends on the mentor, right? So we give the allotments to the mentor, they will connect with you, not an issue.
so
Okay, fine.
sir, because I'm doing
So what about one-to-one mentorship?
We'll start that. We'll start. It will soon start.
sir, one last thing, sorry. So I have registered for the Mad One offline bootcamp too, and in the book it's written that if you're doing both Mad One and Mad Two projects together, you can only apply for Mad One. Is there any way I can do for Mad Two and also then decide that I I decide to continue with this project course? Is there a way I can attend a bootcamp for that too?
Well, see, I mean, that is a decision that will make after the first boot camp. Why is that? Because we need to check. See, firstly, what happens is if the student is not, acquainted with what is there in the theory, there's no point in coming to the boot camp because they are hard and fast, right? So we
Yes.
expect or we assume a lot of things. Okay, so this must be known by the student, the content must be known by the student. It is only that you come here and understand how to connect those things, right? That is the whole idea of boot camps. Now, based on what is the result of first boot camp, how many submissions do we get, are students facing issues, or is it really worth allowing students to give another boot camp, to register for boot camp mat 2, even if they're not done with mat 1 project, is a decision we'll take after the first boot camp only.
Okay,
Okay,
sir. All right, sir.
right, while we are allowing most of the students, so that constraint of you should be done with your theory and everything is definitely not there for the second boot camp.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we'll see if we'll see if we should allow students for bootcamp 2 for mat 2 also, if they are done with mat 1 or not done with, still doing mat 1 project. So that is something, that is a decision we'll take after first bootcamp.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so one last doubt. Go ahead, Rohit. One last two last doubt. Vivek and Rohit, I'll take, and then we'll start. Go ahead, Rohit.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Vivek, go ahead.
My Mat2 project not showing till now.
Did you register for it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When did you register?
In this term.
Okay, can you just share your screen quickly and show me?
Okay, okay, sir. Oh,
Okay.
sir, I am messaged to support team, but nothing happened.
You registered for it, right? Or are
Yes,
you
this.
assuming that it is getting auto
No, no,
deferred?
no. This is sir fees receipt, or I have the screenshot for my register.
Okay, can you open the Viva workflow?
Viva workflow. From where, sir?
You should know Viva workflow, right? You have given Mad1.
Oh, Mad one.
No, Viva workflow meaning where you submit the project and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here is the link. Just open it. Mad1 September it shows. So you're done with September, Mad1 in September, is it?
Yes, sir.
Mad2 it is not showing.
No, sir.
Okay. Did you mail to support?
Yes, sir. I am mailed to the support team, I am sharing the my payment screenshot and video. And other thing is, sir, I have in this fees receipt. Uh, uh, is there is there an issue here? Here total tuition fees or total fees? Uh, oh, sorry. project project fees not showing here,
This I will have to check.
but
So
but but
I,
but sir, total amount is well
okay. So
here.
this is for the 3 project is what you're saying.
Sir, 3 subject or 1 project total amount is well.
I will
Yeah.
just check. Just drop a mail to me, Vivek. I'll check. Okay. I'll have the other details also, right? Add these screenshots into that mail and drop a mail to me. I'll check.
Okay, okay, sir. Can you share your email ID?
Yeah, it's others@study, right?
G. Yes, sir.
1 second. I'm just sharing on the chat. This is,
Okay.
let me check. Yeah, this is my email ID.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Rohit, next. Go ahead.
I don't have a GitHub ID as of now, but since it has been mandated to use it this term, is there any way through which we can get accustomed to it? Because I generally use text editor like VS Code.
Yeah, so see, text editor, you will still use VS Code. Even if you are using Git, you will use the text editor as VS Code only. It is GitHub, you'll just use for version controlling. Okay, you're not going to edit anything there, you're not going to code there. I mean, I understand why you're saying that, because you open Git and you see the repository, you see the code, everything, right? So that is only to make sure that the code and the versions of it are maintained. Okay, so you'll create a private repository. The steps to do that is added into the document, GitHub document that we have shared. So you just follow that steps for now, and then I'll get a proper YouTube video where we have given the basic commands of it to, let's say, make a push, create, add and make the commit. All those things are there. We will share that. Okay, so I'll add it into the project document, project playlist also, right? So you
Okay.
can refer from there.
Okay.
So I mean, just understand that you get your GitHub, especially you're not using for editing. You're just using it for version controlling, and you're using Git. You're just pushing your code to GitHub. Okay. How do we do that? And basically, you'll see that you'll be using Git within VS Code only. So the same editor which you are comfortable with, you'll be using, and then you will continue from there. Okay. So that there is a small video on that, a small tutorial that we have created. One of our students only created. So we'll add that into the playlist, and you can refer to that.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, in
Next.
collaborators, pending request also pending, sir. When
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are
we'll accept.
okay, sir.
So we do that in batch. Okay, so there is not a specific date or timeline that we follow. We just work on it and do it. Okay, so I'll do it probably after this session, and it will be accepted.
Okay,
If at all you feel that the link has been expired or something, do not worry, just resend. We'll accept it.
okay, sir.
Okay, Tanvi, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Actually, I wanted to know that if one-to-one mentoring for this project is the form is still open, and by how much time is it
Yeah,
can be?
so one-to-one mentorship form is yet to open. We'll open it in couple of days. Okay, and it will be open till open, meaning you can register till 20th of March.
Okay, sir. And another thing, yesterday, with the help of that Git tracker document, I opened the GitHub account and the repository and all. But then after inviting the collaborator, I realized that I had mistyped one of the numbers in the username of my role number, and then I edited it, changed it. So then it said that the links are now updated again, but there is a possibility that if some other person takes the older username, that they can maybe access or something. So
No,
is
no,
there an
is
issue?
it a private repository
Yeah, it is
created
a
from your
private one.
account?
It's a
No, then
private one.
nobody can access it.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to make sure that do I need to do anything else apart
No,
from
no,
that?
no, you don't
Okay,
need to.
thank you so much, sir.
Okay, fine. So no more hands raised. So we'll continue with our content. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. I hope you can see not the milestones as of now. Yeah, this is the question statement. I would also go with the project document. So I hope you can see the project document. Let me know if I need to zoom it. Okay, so anyway, I'll zoom it. All right. So this project document kind of, it is very important. So this is the first step to approach the project, right? So you understand what project process is first, then you get into understanding what is the question statement for the term, and then choose from it, right? So while you are from Mat 2, all of you are from Mat 2, I'm sure maximum of you are are done with the Mad 1 project, right? So you kind of are aware of what the project process is, when to submit, how to submit, what exactly happens when you submit, slot booking, and all those things. You are quite aware of it, familiar with it. Some of you might be there who are doing both projects together, so you might be new to this. So for that, to get an understanding of what exactly we are providing to you, you should understand and go through this project document in detail. All right, so what does it cover? Basically, this project document kind of covers how do we evaluate your code, right? So how to ensure the code you're submitting will work when we evaluate it. You don't have to worry about when will it work or not. We are going to release some tutorials again to help you submit the project and retrieve your code to a working stage. Okay, so we are working on that. Before the submission even starts, we'll have that tutorial ready, and we'll be sharing with you. Okay, so basically what while that is there, this is there for you to actually go through and read, right? How do you submit your project? So what does it involve is what exactly you need to submit and what should be the folder structure specifically to make sure that your project structure is valid. Okay, uh, somebody speaking, or I'll just mute. Okay, so we have, I mean, we kind of observed, okay, there were certain changes required to actually create a project structure, which in 99% of the cases will remain valid. So we have come up with this, right? So you see what happens is this, if you follow this project structure, doesn't matter if you're using CLI or not, if you follow this project structure, what is exactly happening? What is main objective of this project structure is you put everything in one folder and you zip that. Okay, it would be good if you keep the name something like this, right? So if you're, let's say, working on quiz master, you do quiz master, quiz underscore master underscore your email, this student ID, right? Or if you're working in household service, you can just put household underscore your student ID, right? So this kind of gives a understanding that, okay, this is the student and this is the project he worked on. Okay, although it is not mandatory and this is not the only way we figure out what project you worked on, but it is good practice to create something like this, right? Then if you are using or if you are working on things like CLI, view CLI or white, this should be something that you follow, right? So within this quiz master folder, you should have a folder called Frontend, wherein you'll add all the front-end related code, everything related to Vue.js, and backend, where everything is related to Python and Flask, right? So two different folders. Within that, you see, so this structure is something that we are going to follow in the project sessions also. So this will kind of give you understanding of what exactly to do. And this structure is very similar to how we did MAD1, right? So it would be good if you follow this. You can have another structure, but the main point or the important thing to note is whatever you name your project folder, everything that you do should be within this folder itself, within the folder, not along with it, right? So probably if you have the, now we have changed it, but if you know, in the previous versions, there has to be something called as project report, right? So we are not expecting project report as of now in this folder structure. In the submission, you only submit the project. Why is that? Because in the portal anyway you submit project report, right? So we can retrieve report from there, so you don't need to add it again explicitly into your project code. Okay, so this is something that you have to follow, and as I said, you will have to go through this document at least twice to understand what is there. Okay, I'll definitely highlight what things we have added, but yes, going through this document and having a complete idea of what exactly we are expecting you from the project is mandatory, right? So you should go through it. Okay. All right, so how do we do it? You might be familiar with the windows, right? So there are 3 windows. We will put a proper schedule of that. Currently it is not there. We'll work on it and put a proper schedule when the window starts, when it ends, when we'll have vivas of that accordingly, right? So we do that in windows, and we batch process your submissions. What do we mean by batch processing? Downloading your submissions, making sure they're valid, making sure they're not plagiarized, other than all those things, right? So those things are there. Now, how do you make sure that the evaluation is valid? Okay, or what are the things that you should do when the evaluation comes as invalid, right? So what happens generally is, let's say I submit in first window. Okay, so first window is tentatively starting from 10th February to 28th February. That is when we have first window. It is almost confirmed, but we just want to make sure that everything, the dates are final. So I'm just telling you tentative as of now. So let's say I submit in the first window. Okay, for any reason, if I'm not able to follow this code structure, or for any other reason, my application becomes invalid. Okay, so what will happen? The portal by itself deletes your submission. Okay, and what do you have to do? You will have to resubmit in another window. Okay, in the next window you'll have to resubmit. So let's say we process your submission on 1st of March, right? So 28 February the window ends, and we process your submission on 1st March, and by any chance it becomes invalid, then what will you see? Not submitted, right? Because that is what you are seeing currently, right? Because you have not submitted. But you, let's say you submitted in first, and by any chance it becomes invalid, the portal deletes your submission, and your your screen becomes not submitted again. So that is kind of to let you let you submit again, right? So you can just submit in that window. And so your project, or sorry, your evaluation of Vivas and everything will happen according to the second window. Then it won't happen according to first window, right? So that is the only thing. So that's why making sure that it is valid is mandatory if you want to make sure that my Viva happen in this and this time frame only, right? So that is something you have to take care of, right? So this kind of tells you in what cases does your application, in what cases do your application become invalid, right? So these are the things that you have to follow, okay? And even if you just go through it and you don't understand anything, as I said, we'll be releasing tutorials taking into consideration all the possible approaches of creating the project. We will make sure we will add tutorials which will kind of give you an idea of how to dismantle your project, zip the relevant file, okay, and submit it. And during your Vivas, put everything together and make it run, okay? So that is something that we are going to work on and release the tutorial by, let's say, before the project submission starts, right? So that it becomes available to you when you submit. Okay, now why we are doing that is something that I'll come to you next. All right. Now, what happens if the submission becomes plagiarism fail? Okay, so this is a bad thing, right? You should not
Can I ask?
plagiarize your code. Yeah.
Can I, if someone submit the project in the last window and its a project is invalid, then what
Then
happens
next
with
term. Okay,
next
so we'll
term?
come to that. Yeah, we'll come to that. In what cases we'll not consider. Okay, so we'll come to that. Okay, so that's what. So I'll just finish a part of it and then take the code, take the doubts, right? Will that be okay? All right.
Yes.
So see, what happens is plagiarism is something that you should not follow. Do not share your code in any point of time. Now, one thing that we have observed is, so we have opened this Git tracker part in from, let's say, last to last term, right? So what happens is student unknowingly make their repositories public, right? So they create public repositories instead of private repositories. See, we have emphasized on creating private repositories in that document very well, and the steps are given, right? So do not miss those steps. Make sure your repository is private. Okay, so on the top of repository it shows that it's private. Okay, I think I'll go to the Git document also, so it will be clear. So make sure your repository is private, because see what happens if it is public. Definitely you're going to name your repository as Quizmaster or Household, right? So it becomes very easy for others to search and get your code. Okay, so that has actually happened. Then we have to actually go through the student submission, their commit history, and actually come to a conclusion that, oh, okay, this may not be plagiarized but shared unknowingly, right? So to avoid those things, what happens is your grade is withheld, right? So we don't want your grade to get withheld, because then you will not be able to register unless your grade is cleared, right? So those things happen. That's why be very sure that you are creating a private repository. Do not share meaning not only sharing the code. Do not even share your screen if you're discussing anything with your friend. Okay, avoid discussing with your friends, because this is a project, self-created, individual basis and evaluated, right? So do not share your project. This is kind of an examination. Okay, two people are creating two different projects and it is evaluated, so it is a part of examination. You should not allow anybody to see your code. You should not share your code anybody. You should not see anybody else's code. Okay, things like if you're following outside documentations, so we know where documentations come in handy. What part of code snippet you will choose from the document. Once again, just give me a minute. I will just do it a small window. Okay, I'll just make this window like this, because I need to make sure that I'm still in the meet. Okay, while I'm speaking, right? So this kind of helps. All right. So I hope this is visible still. And what I'm trying to say is, please make sure that your code is not shared anywhere or it is not copied from anywhere. And by any chance, if you need to refer to the documentation to get the piece of code, we know that, okay, there is no scope of change here. There is nothing unique that a student can do, right? So we avoid that. Okay, we will not flag your submissions as plagiarized because you have taken something from the documentation, because you have taken something from the project sessions also, right? So we know what kind of code can be copied and what kind of code can be written uniquely. Okay, so that is there. And even on that, we have a manual check. Okay, so we check every submission that is flagged for plagiarism manually, so to make sure that it is actually a copy than simply flagging it for no reason. Okay, so that is what we do. But what do you do is you write your code by your own. Okay, by any reason, if you want to see a piece of code from, let's say, refer to, let's say, things like ChatGPT or other things, Claude AI, for getting a piece of code, you get that, understand the code, and try to write it from your own. Okay, this has become a good practice, because doing that, students have taken help from ChatGPT and still be able to write a unique code. Right. So taking help from these things is not a bad thing, because anyway we do that in in real life. We will do that, not an issue. But when you do that, you see what you're taking from the things like ChatGPT, what that code does, how it helps you, and you have a good understanding of what exactly is happening in the code. You cannot blindly copy it and make it work, right? So that is there. All these things will kind of help you avoid plagiarism. Okay, because later on nobody has explanation on where or how their code got copied. Right, later on student will come up with final thinking that, okay, I may have taken from somewhere, I may have copied from there, and that's why my repository left public, and that's why somebody may have taken from there. So those things, to avoid those things, you make sure that you write most of the things from your own. Okay. All right. Now, if the what happens when the submission is also valid and it has passed the plagiarism checker? What is the next step? Level 1 Viva, right? So level 1 Viva is going to change a bit from this term. All right. Till September 24, level 1 Viva was used to be a simple check, right? An objective check on whether a certain feature is present or not, whether the core features are present or not, based on their availability. In the project, we used to evaluate you. Okay, but this time we are taking it forward by multiple things, um, because of the very reason that students are taking entire code from ChatGPT, okay, or any other AI. They take it from ChatGPT. The core features are there because they are working, because obviously someone else has written it for you. Okay, but you don't know anything about the project, what is happening, right? So to make sure, what we'll do is, along with the basic rubrics that we follow, right, to make sure that the core features are there, the level 1 examiner can also get into details of code. Okay, so this is like a semi level 2 thing. All right, so if we are able to if you're able to kind of give an answer on, okay, how did you approach and things like that, obviously those questions will be kind of more details about the project, and a bit subjective, in a sense that the examiner would like to understand what exactly you have done in the project. Okay, if you have taken the code from outside, you definitely will not have any idea of what exactly happened. But you have written something, if you have worked on it, you will have idea on it, you will be able to explain, and only then we will consider your level 1 Viva as legit. Okay, because there is no point in a working project but you are not able to tell whether you have used something or not, right? So that should not happen. That is first thing. Second thing, especially for mat 2 project, it is very important that you run your project within first 10 minutes of the Viva. Okay, so you see this red color note, this is very important. That is the reason it is bold and in red color, right? The students giving level 1 Viva examination must be able to run their project within 10 minutes after the verification of checksum. What is this checksum? Don't worry about it. We'll get into it later. Okay, and I think most of you will be aware, right? Failing to do so, straight away fail, right? Level 1 fail, will not get into details of it. Okay, why is that? Because again, we have seen students have taken the code from outside, but they know nothing about it. They don't even know how to run the project, right? So we need to make sure that the student knows at least in and out of the project, right? They should be able to download their file, make it ready for running, be able to run it. Okay, then the level 1 starts. We get into the rubrics of level 1, and then we get into some details, superficial details of the project, to get an understanding whether the student knows about the project or not. So this is going to be a kind of increment in the level of level 1 examination. Okay, so this is something that will be brought into from this term. Okay,
So
and
I had one doubt. You said that we have to download and show. Uh, from GitHub we have to download and show, right? Or
no, not from GitHub, from the portal itself. See, there are multiple,
okay.
there are again two ways of that. There is something called as checksum, right? What is this? Do you have the idea of what checksum is?
No, sir.
You are doing both Mat 1 and Mat 2, is
Yeah,
it?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So see what checksum is. For example, you submitted on let's say 28th of February. That is the last day of first window. Okay, but your Viva will happen on let's say 6th of March, level 1 Viva.
Okay.
Okay, so that is something that time we take because we also need to, as I said, we'll run the plagiarism check and all those things, right? So let's say you have a level 1 by 6th of March. This is just an example. I'm not giving you the
Okay.
actual dates. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say your level 1 Viva is on 6th March. You submitted on 20th Feb. How do we make sure that you have not made any change between this 20th Feb and 5th of
Oh.
March?
Okay. Okay.
Right? So to make sure, what we do is when you submit the project, okay, a checksum is created by the application and stored with us.
Okay.
Okay, and when you get ready for the Viva, we will share you the code of checksum, which you will have to run on your system and on the same project. If those two
Okay.
checksum match, only then we'll consider that okay, there is no change made in the project in this dead time. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So for that, the zip that you submitted, you have to, not only make changes into it, you have to make sure that the application again is not run. Why? Because you keep a version of it, exact same version of it, and make sure everything is running. But the version that you submitted, do not make a change into that. Why? Because every change in the database will also change the checksum. Every change in a character anywhere will change the checksum. So how do we make sure that this is, not changed at all? Okay,
Okay.
understood what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that is one thing. For any reason, if the checksum doesn't match, we do not discard the project. What we do is we will ask you to download the version that you submitted. So the application Viva workflow allows you to download the project. Okay,
Okay.
whatever you submitted.
Okay.
Okay, so whatever you submitted. So let's say your checksum is not matching for any reason, maybe a legit reason. Okay, if it is not matching, then what you do is you download the submission from the project, from the portal, sorry, Viva portal, and then you will have to run it. All right. So you should be able to run it, and this should be done within 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, because that is what we feel should be taken if even if you're doing the CLI part. If you're doing CDN, you should not take more than 5 minutes. But if you're doing CLI, okay, some node modules and everything it install, internet connectivity is required, all those things are there, might take some minutes. Okay, so within 10 minutes, you should be able to run the project. If
Okay,
that
sir.
is not done, it is a straight away fail. Okay, we will not continue with the Viva.
I just add another question because if one second, sir. Um, at first, we can show from our system itself, right, sir? The project.
See, every demonstration must be done in your system only. Even if that version, if you have, right, which you have in your system, if the checksum matches, you can show that version only, not any issue. But if
Okay.
the checksum doesn't match, we'll have to download it from the portal.
Oh,
Downloading will be done in your system, running will be done in your system. All the demonstration will be done in your system.
okay, sir.
Okay, so that is there. Okay, now how do we evaluate? So what we do is we spread this 100 marks granted for project into two things, level 1 and level 2. All right, level 1 is of 40 marks, level 2 is of
Sir, I have a doubt.
60. Yeah.
Sir, let's say we are submitting the file from the WSL and
Hmm.
we will be running it in the Windows directly. So will it change the checksum?
Uh, if you're submitting from WSL, you'll be running it in WSL. Why would you run it in Windows? Especially for Mat 2, right? You will see if you're using a Windows machine, anyway, you'll have to work everything on WSL, run it on WSL, and demonstrate on WSL.
Okay,
In
but
Windows,
sir,
see, you will
how
not be
do
able to
we?
demonstrate other things, no?
But sir, how do we download the WSL? Is not that doesn't have any, I mean, UI. So how do I download
It
it
works in
from the?
VS Code only, very similar to how Git works, right? So WSL, once the WSL is downloaded in your system and installed, will share a video, right? So once that is downloaded and installed, you can open a WSL window in VS Code. Okay, we'll see that in project session also. In the upcoming
Yes, sir.
sessions, we'll see that. Okay,
Okay,
so
sir.
you can open a WSL shell. Your code will run on VS Code only. Everything will happen on VS Code only, but you will be opening a WSL shell. It is not going to be a CMD or PowerShell shell. It will be a WSL shell. Okay, so you
Yes, sir.
download the
Also,
project there and run there.
Also, is there any way to see the checksum in the project dashboard? Like, what will be the checksum in the server?
Yes, yes, you can see that's what, right? So when you one day prior to your Viva, when we share the meet details and your Viva date and everything, right? So we also share a piece of code which you can use to check your checksum. What is my checksum coming, right? So it is just a piece of 3 to 4 lines of code, small
Yeah, yeah,
library.
that I understand. But just to cross check that the checksum in my system is actually same as the in the portal also, right? So can we get the checksum in the portal also?
No, that you won't check. You will be just letting us sharing the checksum with us, and we will be verifying it. You
You
cannot
will be
verify.
waiting. Okay, okay, fine, fine. All right.
Okay. All right, so that is there. Then coming back to this marking, okay, so most of you must be familiar. So what is this marking? This is for level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is 40 marks, level 2 is 60 marks. Okay, now level 1 is distributed into 3 parts. One is failing the level 1 Viva, or level 1 Viva failing meaning you are failing the project itself, right? So I'll just clarify on that. Failing the level 1 examination, passing the level 1 with D and E grade, and passing the level 1 and being eligible for level 2. These are the 3 different sections, okay, of how level 1 is evaluated, right? So I'll just go back again and tell you, right? So you see one step 5A, which is if you pass level 1 and marks obtained are greater than equals to 28. This is one section, right? So if your marks are 28 and above out of 40 in level 1, you are passing the level 1 and you are eligible for level 2. Okay, so then you will be same process, right? So you'll be going to the level 2 booking slot for it. I'll come to that part also, but you are eligible for level 2. You can give level 2 book slot for it and take the Viva. That is one thing. Okay, the second step, that is step 5B. Okay, these are step meaning these are 3 different possibilities of your score, right? So one is you score either 28 and above out of 40. Second is you either score between 16 and 28, that is 16 inclusive and excluding 28, so up to 27. If your score is between these 2 marks, then what happens? You will be passing level 1, but you will not be eligible for level 2. Okay, so you'll not be eligible meaning you'll passing the level 1 and you'll also pass the project entire project course you will pass, but your grade will be between either D or E. Okay, so the project grade will be either D or E. How is that differentiated? This is the marking, right? So if your score is anywhere between 20 to 27, it is a D. Anywhere between 16 to 20, it is E. And the entire project grade will be that, no level 2. You will not be eligible to give level 2, no evaluation on level 2. Okay, and then the marks are less than 16, right? That is the third scenario. If your marks are less than 16, you fail level 1, right? So that is 40% of 40, right? So if your marks are less than 16, you fail level 2. If your submission is in window first or window second, you will be allowed to reattempt. Okay, meaning, I mean, obviously, whether you are failing or passing will be only able to get that information once you give the Viva, right? So, for example, if you submit in first window, okay, you give the Viva on again first week of March somewhere, and from the result, it is clear that your application did not have many core features, and for some reason you failed, right? So, let's say your score is less than 16. 16 is pass, less than 16 is fail, right? So, if your score is less than 16, what will happen? You will be allowed to reattempt, okay, make the changes, add whatever is lacking and everything, whatever features are lacking, you have to reattempt and re-register for level 1. So you see there is a processing amount of 1,000. Okay, if by any chance you fail level 1 in if submitted in window 1 and window 2, you can still reattempt, but you'll have to make the payment of 1,000 rupees. Okay, but again, this red color note, right? There is no the provision to reattempt for level 1 in case you fail in the first attempt is not valid for final batch. Okay, if you submit in batch 3 and you fail level 1, you fail the entire project. There is no reattempt, because when will you reattempt? There is no other window, right? Okay, so this reattempt chance will be given only for first window submissions and second window submissions, because you have one more window to submit. Okay. Also, if you fail in, let's say, level 1, if you fail level 1 in first window, you should be submitting in the next window only. Okay, not in third window. Your project will not be considered in the third window, because we don't want to see if The idea is if you're failing level 1 by one or two reasons, one or two features, you can very well add them and pass the project. We would not want to give you 15-20 days again to work on it and you'll be able to submit, right? So if you're failing the submission or failing the level 1 in first window, you can submit once again, but only in second window. You cannot go to third window. Same goes with second window, right? So if you submit first time in second window, and if you fail, you can submit in the third window. That is the only chance, right? If you fail again, I mean, you reattempt and again you fail, you will be again failing the entire project. There is no again reattempt, right? So only one reattempt is allowed. Okay. Any query in this point? Any doubt in this point? Right. So again, go through this documentation. It kind of clearly says, all right. Now this is step 6A is when you pass level 2. So there are two cases when you, there are two cases. What happens when you, let's say, pass level 1 with more than 28 marks, right? So what happens? You are eligible for level 2, right? Like given in step 5A, right? So when you pass level 1 marks and the marks obtained are greater than or equal to 28, what will happen? You will be eligible for level 2. When you are eligible for level 2, there are two outcomes. Either you fail level 2 or you pass level 2, right? If you pass level 2, your grade will be based on the total sum marks of the level 1 and level 2, right? So let's say if I score 35 in level 1 and 45 in level 2, my total marks will be 80, my grade will be according to that. Okay, my total score will be according to that. But if you fail level 2, you pass level 1, you are eligible for level 2, you give level 2, but any chance you fail level 2. Okay, what will happen? We will be calculating your grade based on your level 1 marks. Okay, so you either get D or E. Okay, but I think in generally what happens is if you are eligible for level 2, it generally becomes a D grade. It is not going to be an E grade, right? So there is no chance of getting E grade by failing level 2, passing level 1 and failing level 2. I hope you are getting these possible possibilities of score. Okay, so generally 99%, 100% cases, what will happen? Your grade will be D. Okay, a straight D when you pass level 1 and fail level 2. When do you fail level 2? When your score is less than 30. Okay, is it given in the bottom? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, here. Okay, so 60% weightage, meaning out of 100, 60 marks for level 2, and pass percentage is 50 marks. So if your score is 30 marks or more, you are passing level 2 and your final grade will be the sum of level 1 and level 2. If you are failing level 2, then your marks, your grade final marks and grade will be based on your level 1 score, and in maximum cases it is going to be a D grade. Okay, so one more thing. What if I fail level 2? Can I reattempt? No, there is no reattempt for level 2. Okay, level 2 can be given only once. Level 1 can be given twice. So you can see this. Okay, I'll just, whatever I've told you can be summed up into this figures, right? So you submit project. Okay, if it is a valid submission, it goes to plagiarism check. If it is not a valid submission, you go to again submitting the project in next window. All right. If it is crossing the plagiarism check, okay, and if it is considered as copied, you will be out of the project process, right? The entire level 1, level 2 is gone. You are out of project process. You'll have to do the project in next term only. All right, no chance of doing it or getting it done in the same term. All right, but if your project passes the plagiarism check, what will happen? Then you become eligible for level 1. Okay, then you book slot for level 1. You give level 1 examination. If you fail, if you fail level 1, right, for the first time, what it says, failed for the first time in level 1. Yes, if it is yes, you will be able to pay the fees again and submit the project again, right? If it is for the first time. If it is not for the first time, you are failing level 1, but it is not for the first time, meaning you are again failing, then what will happen? Again, you'll have to redo. You are completely failing the project. Okay, if you cleared level 1, okay, cleared level 1 meaning marks equals to or greater than 28, then you will be eligible for level 2. Okay, so level 2 will be again comprehensive exam. If you clear level 2, that is if you pass level 2, it will be course completed and your total grade or final grade will be the addition of level 1 and level 2 marks. If you fail level 2, it will be pass with a D grade, right? So pass, why pass? Because definitely you have come to level 2, meaning you have passed level 1, right? So passing level 1 is passing project. So you'll pass level 2 with a D grade. So your final project grade will be D. Okay, so that is what is summed up this here theoretically and here with the help of diagram. Okay, this is the course wise or marks wise weightage of level 1 and level 2, and this is the submission, right? So project submission will start from February 10th. As I said, the first window submission will start from February 10th, and the deadline will be March 30. Okay, March 30 will be the deadline, no extensions given. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
so what happen if we pass level 2 Viva, but
You pass the project.
no, but the grade is not much great. So, sir, what is the process? Like, can we redo the
No,
project?
no reattempt for project. If project is passed, you will be passing with whatever you grade you got, right? You cannot reattempt. There is no what do you call uh, improvement on project and everything. Improvement will be allowed only if the cumulative grade percentage of all the 4 projects is less than 7. Okay.
Okay.
For example, you have this
Before the
4 projects.
degree, like before
Yes,
the
yes.
degree.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean only when the see the two things. One is the 4 projects. One is the 4 projects, right? These MLP, BDM, MAD1 and MAD2. These are the 4 projects. Okay. You can go to degree level if your cumulative grade percentage is more than or equals to 7. If you can go to degree level only when this criteria is met, right? If it is less than 7, you will not be able to go to degree level. But to improve this and get you into degree level, you will be allowed to reattempt any project you want. Okay.
Okay.
So reattempt will be allowed only when your cumulative grade percentage of 4 projects, okay, not the entire theory and everything. The 4 project is less than 7.
Okay. Got it, sir.
Okay, so these are the two problem statement. These are the only 2 problem statement. Okay, no other problem statement will be evaluated or entertained, right? So you need to make sure that you're on the right term, right? Simply opening the Viva workflow will not be sufficient. I'll just show you how. So for example, if I log in as a student, I should be able to see something like this. Okay, so it is very important to make sure that that you are on the right term. Okay, so let's say if you want to submit MAD1 project, make sure this is MAD1 Jan 25. Does not matter when you last registered, right? Some students have a doubt. I registered first time in September 24 and I deferred it. Which term should I follow? Current term. Okay, what term is going on? Because your registration was renewed, right? You registered again, your amount was refunded and you registered it again, so you are now a new registration for Jan 25 term, right? So you have to make sure that if you want to submit MAD1 project, you submit here in this page. If you want to submit MAD2 project, you submit here, MAD2 Jan 25. Currently it will show not submitted, definitely, because the submission deadlines are submission portal is yet to take submission, right? All right. Now on this portal, you can see there is full detail. What is this full detail about? This kind of gives you information of the question statements. Same thing, right? Both the question statement and their detailed documentations are given in the full details. Okay. And guideline document, it is the same project document that we are discussing now. This one. Okay. Everything is there
Excuse
in
me,
there.
sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
sorry to disturb you actually. I couldn't hear you properly when you were talking about the term differentiation. If I had not been able to finish the previous term thing and it has been funded, I'm doing it again, like the second time, I have to do the current project.
Okay. Once
The
again, your voice was breaking. Was it only to me or others also had this?
Yes, sir. Voice is breaking.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
So, yeah, maybe you can type on chat. I'll be able to answer from there. Okay.
Sir, can you
Sir,
hear
can you
me?
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, yeah. So sorry. My question was that I'll have to do the current terms project, like the current terms web app. and not the previous one that I had applied for earlier, which one, the one that I couldn't finish.
See,
Is
you
that
don't
right?
worry about when you registered. See, valid project statement does not have anything to do with the registrations. Okay. You just open the project document of that term. So currently we are in P12025, right? Jan 25 term.
Yeah.
The project document of Jan 25 term tells you the valid question statement for that term.
Okay, okay, fine.
Okay, you refer to this and only work on this. You don't need to worry about when you last registered, what was the question statement then. No need to worry about those things.
Okay, okay, okay.
Hmm?
Yeah.
So
Thank you, sir.
yeah, so these two things are exclusive. Okay, that when you registered versus what is the valid question statement. Valid question statements are given in the current terms, whichever term you are currently doing in that terms question statement project document. Okay.
Sorry for disturbing you.
Hmm.
So can you tell me once again the Viva process itself? Because a little bit confused with that.
What is your confusion? Because you can again go through this and get that thing cleared. But what exactly is your confusion? I can then clear that.
Uh, you tell that if I start, if there is a scenario that I start the Viva, then it will first they give the link of checksum that I will do the sorry that was
See, what happens is, let's say you have a Viva on 5th of March. Okay, this is again an example. You have a Viva on 5th of March. What will happen on 4th of March evening, by end of day 4th of March, what will happen? You will get the details. What details you will get? The meet link that you have to join, right? The slot details and everything. Obviously, the slot which you selected, you will get, right? So you book for a slot, you get into that slot. So that information will be there. Along with that, there will be a small piece of code snippet that kind of helps you how to validate the checksum. Okay. Now what that checksum is, what you have to do is in the same project folder where you are creating it. I'll show you how to do that when we go into the project sessions.
okay.
But in the same project file, for example, I have created my project in, let's say, G drive. In that very folder, I'll be creating a new file. Name it anything I want. It will be a Python file, and in that file, I'll paste that code which is given to me in the mail. Okay, and then create checksum. How do we do that? And that instructions are very neatly given in that mail also, and there is one document that I'll be showing you now. Okay, you have to watch that thing. And anyway, if you are following these project sessions, I'll cover that also later.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So that is there. So then what happens is when the checksum gets evaluated, either it matches or it does not match. So if it matches, we can continue with your version of the project. Your version meaning the file that you have in your system. If it
Okay.
does not match, we will allow you to download the submission file that you submitted. You can again download it. It is downloadable into your portal, from your portal into your system. Then you will have to run it, and that process should be done within 10 minutes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah,
One question.
yeah, go ahead.
Basically, if we, for example, may God not hope, but if we fail the project twice in the thing and in the duration thing, and thereafter if we register for the next term, then should we have to pay full fees, or we are allowed to pay only that I grade thing only? What grade will it show, you or I?
When exactly? When exactly?
After this term, maybe.
No, no. What you're saying is you registered now and you did not submit.
Yes.
So it depends on when was your actual registration, right? First time registration, right? So for example, if you registered for Jan term for the very first time of this project, okay, so this project fees will be valid for 2 terms. Okay, how is that valid? It will be valid definitely because the registration is activated yours. But for any reason, if you do not submit, your grade will be high. Okay. When will your grade be high? If this was your first time registration. Okay, if you did not submit, your grade remains I. All the students whose grade is I, we will refund the project amount, complete project amount, 2,500 it is, I think. So complete project amount will be refunded to your student wallet before the registration starts. And when the registration window starts, If you think that okay, I want to give another attempt to the project in the very next term, you register for it again, and it will be activated again, right? So what happens? Same project fees was used for 2 terms, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did
Correct.
you get this? Now, by any reason, if you again feel something happened in May 25 and you could not submit, what will happen? Your fees is now used for the 2 terms, right? So then your grade becomes U. By any reason, if you do not submit again in May term, are you
After
getting
that,
this?
sir?
After that, if you want to give project in September 25, then you'll have to do a fresh registration with fresh payment,
Okay, okay, okay.
right? So that is how we say that one project fees is valid for 2 terms.
So, sir, like in Jan 2025, if we pick a quiz master application and didn't submit the project, then this statement is carry forward to the May term.
Yes, this will be valid. Again, it has nothing to do with when you made the payment, right?
No, 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 I'm just asking. Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, yes. So see, a new statement for this term will be carried forward along with the new statement of next term, right? So household service was a new statement last term, right? So it is valid now. Quiz master is a new statement this term, so it will be valid in the next term along with another new question statement, right? So every term you have one old and one new question statement format too. Are we clear here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll proceed. Okay, so next question statement, I'll come to that part again, but
Sir,
yeah.
sir, I actually gave the invite for GitHub, sir. It is still not activated. When can I expect to be activated?
It will be, don't worry. So we
Okay.
do that in batch, irregular days, right? In 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Sometimes it goes up to 6 days. So don't worry about it. It will be
Okay.
extended. By any chance, if you feel that your invitation was created more than 7 days back, if you felt that okay, I created today, but it's still not accepted even after 7 days, just resend it. Okay, because invitations are valid only for 7 days, and by any chance for some reason we could not accept, just resend it and we will accept it. Okay, because once it is expired we cannot do anything, you'll have to just resend it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that is there. Next is this git document. Okay, so these are the two important documents. Again, I'll open that, but this is something that you have to read. I Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm audible now.
Yes, sir.
I lost my connection.
No worries, sir.
Yeah, just let me know what was the last thing that you heard so that I can continue from there.
You are proceeding after telling grades. What is the process to score L2 and
So you are about to start the Git
You were
documentation.
starting the Git document thing.
Yeah, Git document, right? Yeah, so question statement is remaining, and I almost finished this, and then I again came back to Git part, right? This was the thing that was going on. Is this correct?
Right, sir.
Okay, fine. Can just somebody from you check whether it is being continued on the YouTube? Because, okay, I'll just share the YouTube link. Please check if this is getting streamed on YouTube correctly again. This is YouTube
Yes,
link.
sir. It is.
It's working. It's working.
It's working, right? Okay. Sometimes it does not work. That's why I just wanted to confirm. Okay, anyways. Yeah. So we were coming back to the Git tracker document, right? So as I said, these two documents are important because again, so when you are looking at this part, Git tracker document, again, there is a red note, bold line, what it says, registration on Git tracker is compulsory for all students, right? Initially, till the last time it was not, but now it is, right? So registering for Git tracker document, that is creating your private repo and sending a collaborator request is a 0th milestone, right? If you don't do this, will not be able to consider or track your progress, right? So that's why we are saying failing to do so, the project will not be considered for evaluation, right? So all those who feel that we have still not accepted your meet, and the days for sending requests has been more than 10 days or even 7 days, just resend back. Okay, we'll accept it. All right, now
Sir,
what is
like
this?
sir, the email ID has to be of IITM in the GitHub.
Yes, that is recommended, but now if you already have a GitHub account and you have added your email IITM email ID as a secondary email ID, then you can continue with whatever is there. But if you do not have an account with your IITM email ID, then it's better to do that way, because then it becomes easier for us to identify you as a student, right? If you
Okay,
already
sir.
have an account with your personal email ID and email, IITM email ID is added as a secondary ID, because that has been a case that I've been observing from the students, that their CS as in your student ID email ID of the IITM is added as secondary email ID. In that case, you can continue with whatever email ID you have, the account. But if you do not have any account till now, just create with a IITM student ID. It becomes very easy for us to track it. Okay, so that procedure has been given here. So what is this Git tracker document? This Git tracker document helps you to, and this is most of UI part, right? So this is a GitHub related document. Okay, all the tutorial related to Git, all the commands that are required by you, we will share. But as of now, what you can do as a 0th part, what you can do to actually create a GitHub account and create a new repo and send us the collaborator request is what is given in this document. Okay, so we will share some files and YouTube tutorials which kind of give you some commands on how to use Git, how to install it, how to commit, and those things. Okay, so starting here, it goes all the way from creating a account on GitHub to adding us as collaborator, right? So you can go through this. It has every step-by-step screenshot is given here, so that you don't have any issue. Now there are students who are doing both MAD1 and MAD2 project together. In that case, what you have to do is you have to create two different private repositories and add MAD1 for MAD1 and MAD2 for MAD2, right? So you can see MAD1 CS2003. You have to add MAD1 CS2003 as collaborator for MAD1 repository and MAD2 CS2006 collaborator for MAD2 repository. Okay, if you're doing both, you have to create two different projects. Anyway, you're creating two different projects, right? Same project will not work. Okay, If you're doing only one, it's better, right? So just one.
Excuse me, sir.
Hmm.
So, but we would have to use for we create two separate repositories, but we have to use the same IATM account if we are doing both Mad1 and Mad2 project together, right?
Yes, same IATM account.
Okay.
Same, because I mean, see, IATM account does not matter, right? There will be one GitHub account, but there can be multiple repositories.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You can create two, you will have to create two private repositories, okay,
Okay.
and maintain two different codes.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so everything is given quite in detail. If you have gone through and if you have not understood anything, just raise your hand and let me know. I'll come to this. If you
Sir,
have
I
not
have a
gone
query.
through, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Uh, so Mat2 project is basically we are doing from the this WSL, right? If we have Windows systems, sir.
Right.
Yeah. So here, like in Mad1 project, we did Windows directly. There, I created GitHub account and I git cloned the project and it created the folder in the my system, right? So I was not able to figure out for the same thing for WSL, sir, like how to use WSL because it is not actual system, right? I was a bit confused, sir, that part, like how to git clone using WSL.
No. See, what happens is when you do a Git cloning must be done using Git bash only. There only it will work, right? Even if it works in other things, we don't want to have any configurational issues. So okay, let me just give you a very small brief on this.
No, sir, I got it, but in Windows PowerShell we can use it, but when we use WSL, right? It will be different system altogether, right, sir? In network, yeah, here in network it will come, right? The Linux that we see here in the screen you are sharing. Under Linux, it will say you will have Ubuntu. I also have the same thing right now. But where to clone? Should we clone in our local system or should we clone in the Ubuntu, that WSL Ubuntu folder, that
Oh, so
home
various.
source?
Okay, see, all right, fine. So see, what you do is you do it in the local system only, not an issue. Okay, see what happens is when you install WSL, it gives you an interface. For example, you see this Linux Ubuntu on the left. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
You don't need to use this. It's not necessary that using or putting your code here only will make it work on WSL. That is not a necessity. What I'm telling you is, let's say I have a project here. Okay, in the next session anyway we are going to start, but let's say if I want to create my project here, so what you do, you go to terminal. Okay, new terminal. By default it will open, in most of the cases by default it will open a command prompt terminal. Okay, so you can go on the top right arrow, okay, and you can open git bash so that you can clone everything here into this project. Okay, so this opens the git bash terminal for you. Okay, you can just use git clone, okay, and the URL of whatever repository you want to clone. Okay, that is one thing. Second, again you go to this top right arrow and open this Ubuntu shell. Okay, so what happens here, this project now you can run in the Ubuntu. So when you create a virtual environment using this shell, your project will work on the WSL environment.
Okay. So using the git drop down there, right? We can get using git bash, we can git clone, and then using WSL will run the project. MS code will run in that environment. That's what it is. Is that correct, sir? Hello. Sir, you are not audible.
Why do we have to use WSL? Like,
Yeah, I'm having some network issues. I'm really sorry about this, but I hope you're getting what I'm saying, right? So you can see your project will work on your machine only. It depends on where your virtual environment is created and how you run it, right? For example, you can run the same project using virtual environment also and using WSL environment also. It depends on what you are activating, right? So I'll just show you that. Here, what I've done is, let's say I have a project here. Okay, if I have the backend folder, front end folder, whatever Vue.js and everything I have here. How am I running it depends on what terminal I'm running the application. Okay, so git bash, this bash terminal will be used to get the repo. Okay, in most cases you won't even need to get, because coding will be done in your system only. You'll be simply keeping on pushing the code to the GitHub, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So you will be using bash terminal to push the code, commit the changes, add them to the staging area and everything. Don't worry about these words, but all these things will be done in the bash terminal. Running will be done in the WSL terminal. Okay, so we will start with creating a virtual environment of WSL, and since the virtual environment is created in WSL, entire Linux setup is set into the system and that folder only. So it does not mean that okay, you have to create your folder or everything into this Linux folder. Forget about this.
Okay, okay. Okay, that was the confusion, sir. Okay.
All
Got
right,
it.
and
Thank
I
you.
will be clear when we progress with the
Sir,
actual coding.
actually, I am using Linux Mint as a second operating system in my PC. It is okay to use this, or I have to download Ubuntu.
No, it's okay. Any Linux terminal. See, why are we using Linux? Is because we want to run Redis and Celery, right? That's all. Otherwise, everything else can be done using simple command prompt also, Windows also. But those things, the backend jobs and everything, will not be able to implement using Windows. So that is the reason we want Linux. So Linux, any version of it can work. Ubuntu, Mint, not an issue.
Will we be able to do this using that WSL?
What exactly?
This running Redis.
Yes, that's why we are using WSL.
Okay.
Okay, so because I'm also using Windows system, and most of you will have Windows system, so we'll be using WSL to run the Redis and Celery.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, everybody else who does not have a Windows system, that is they have either Mac or Linux, can directly use it. They don't need to do WSL and everything.
Sir, in the project session, you will show us like how to create the folder initially in the session.
Yes, everything from the scratch.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so next session we'll discuss about the project statement that I am going to follow, and we'll start coding from there. Okay, so you go through this GitHub document. This is another important document which you will need at the start of the project. Project document you will need throughout, right? So you'll keep on, you'll be moving back and forth, right? So you refer documentation, work on the project, get back those things, right? So that you're updated every time. Okay, project document you'll need, Git tracker document you'll need to actually add us into collaborator. Once you get yourself added as collaborator, you don't need Git document, right? In the Git helper document, you see there is a place where where we have written, we'll add tutorials, right? This tutorials will add here itself. So you can refer to those tutorials. Links will be here so that you can refer and do the push, commit, all those things here also. And one tutorial will add into the project session playlist also. So you can refer from there. Okay. The next important document that you will require every day, probably whenever you're working on the project, is the actual project statement, right? So assuming that we are working on Quizmaster 2, that is what I'm going to explain today. Okay, why is it not clickable?
Sir, one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You will be taking these sessions on project?
Yes.
Okay. So next session also you will be taking?
Yes, all the project sessions I'll take.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
So
so
it is
when you're
not
done with...
also clickable in our documents also.
It's not clickable, is it?
No, sir.
It's okay. What you do is what I did, right? So you copy the link and open
Yes,
a new tab.
okay. I did that thing.
Okay, so let's start with the project document. Let us understand what exactly is required of this project statement. Okay, so this time we are going to create quiz master. application. What is this? Any quiz or any test series application that you may have come across, right? Very similar to that, not up to that extent definitely, but yes, you can take it there, but not the core requirements don't expect you to make that level. What is required, we'll go into details of this, right? So let's say this is a multi-user application, but multi-user meaning the type of user will be only two, right? One is the administrator and one is the general user. Type of users will be only two, but in and I mean the general users can be more than one, right? That is the reason we are calling it multi-user. Okay, what are the mandatory frameworks that we have to use? SQLite for data storage, right? So the backend remains the same. Okay, Flask for API, that is the backend. As I said, when we are going to create a Vue project or a Mat2 project, the Flask controllers will be converted into Flask APIs. So we'll be using either Flask RESTful or simple routing, right? At the end of the day, we want JSON data to be thrown as a response. Okay, so SQLite data for data storage, we'll be using Flask SQL Alchemy for covering the ORM and everything. Flask APIs, right? So I'll be going with Flask RESTful, okay, so that your RESTful part also get revised, and it is easy in that sense.
Sir, it is mandatory to use Flask RESTful, or we
No,
can
it's
use
not.
also use Fast API.
Fast API, I wouldn't recommend for this project, because see, the thing is, it's better to simply create JSON or render JSON than using Fast API at least for the project. Okay, there is no one stopping you. You can go ahead, but I mean, it is just a personal feeling that you don't use Fast API. Just use either you can use FastX also, but it's better to either use SQLite or simply use simple Flask framework and return JSON. Okay, so that is there. Okay, Vue.js will use for API. Sorry, UI. Okay, so the front end will be created by Vue.js. We'll be using CLI for creating the project, so you get an idea of what CLI is and how scaffolding and everything is done. Jinja 2 templates we will is used if you are using CDN. Okay, so and that too, if you see, only for the entry point. What exactly is this entry point and everything, we'll get into that later. Okay, SQLite database, as I mentioned already. Then Redis for caching and Celery for batch jobs. Okay, so there are some backend jobs that we are going to work on, and this is where WSL comes into picture. So to make everything uniform, to make everything run in a single environment, we'll be using WSL from the scratch. Okay, so you don't have to bring in WSL when you're getting into Celery and Redis. Let us create the entire project in WSL only from the scratch. Okay, all right.
So you'll be demonstrating on CLI or CDN?
CLI, we'll use CLI.
Sir, SQLite for both database as well as data storage, both work differently.
I think it is just a redundant statement, right? So data storage meaning, yes, database only. Okay, I think it is again just added one more, so I just consider one. It's one and the same thing. These are not these two things are not different, right? These are one and the same. Okay, so now we'll talk about who are the users, or who are the actual different type of users of the application. So as I said, there are going to be two roles. One is the admin and the user. Okay, admin is the one who will be taking care of entire things available, all the things available on the application, right? Things like chapters, quizzes, topics. We'll come to those things later, but all these things will be created and managed by admin. What is the role of user? To be able to attempt any quiz, that's all. Okay, nothing else. Okay, so let us go into details of this. There is only one admin to this application. Obviously, we will not be giving UI to register as an admin, right? That is not going to be there. Either you create admin directly through the database, I mean getting into the database. Okay, so while we are working on the code, we will have the access of database, right? So we can open that database and add it manually. Either that we can do, or we can programmatically add, right? So that is adding admin using piece of code whenever you run the application if the admin does not exist, right? So there is only going to be one admin, whichever way you follow. Okay, what we should not do, or what is not to be done in the application, is provide a UI to register as admin. You would not want anybody and everybody coming into the application and start registering as admin, right? Not everybody can be admin. Okay. Everybody who is registering to the application will be general user who can take the quiz. Okay, that is the point. Okay, but what an admin can do, admin can manage all the other users. Manage meaning to be able to see what is happening with the users, how many users have enrolled to the application, how many users are giving quiz from so and so chapter, and things like that, right? So these terminologies will come to in a minute. Okay, what can an administrator do again? It will administrator will be able to create a new subject, right? So everything starts off with a subject. Okay, so administrator will be able to create a new subject. Administrators will be able to add different chapters for a subject. Okay, so the CRUD for chapters will be there, and administrator will be able to add quiz and questions under a chapter, right? So again, CRUD for a quiz will be there. Okay, what can a user do? User can register and log in. Yes, so you can register as a user, you can log in as a user. You can only log in as admin, not register as admin, right? So be sure of these two to three statements that I'm spoken now, right? These are the things that a user can have, right? But what can a user do? Simply go ahead into the application, get into the dashboard, see what are the subjects or chapter name available, which quizzes are available, start the quiz, end the quiz, and later view the scores. That's all, right? I mean, what would you do in any test series that you register for, right? So you get into, your account is created, you get into it, you select a particular quiz, give the quiz, and then you later on analyze, okay, this is my dashboard, these are the quizzes I've given, this is the average scores and everything. Okay, user can reattempt a quiz. Okay, that is possible, right? So if, let's say if I've given a quiz, I got, let's say, some marks, I want to, let's say, improve. Okay, so I can again give that quiz and improve my marks. Okay, so it is a reattempt is possible. Now let us go into the terminologies. What are these things? Okay, so there is one user. Okay, a user will register and log in, attempt and quiz, right? That is all a user can do. Admin, it is a super user with full control over the users and data. Registration is not allowed, as we are talking about it. Okay, admin account must pre-exist into a database when the application is initialized. This can be done with two methods. Either you manually add an admin into the uh, database, or you programmatically do it, but you do not provide UI to register. Okay, that is how it is done. We'll see.
Sir,
Then
can
there
we
is a
give a?
Go ahead.
Can I ask?
Mhm.
Sir, can we give a admin login UI? Only
Yes,
login.
login will be there.
Okay, that's it.
Login will be there, right? I mean, how will you get into the application then?
Okay.
Right, so admin login will be
No,
there.
I mean like admin login are different and user register and login different.
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
Both you can do. You can just have one page for login, and based on the credentials, model can differentiate, or your application can differentiate who has logged in. That also you can do, or simply have two different pages: administrator login or user login. Any approach is fine. Okay, then we'll start with the first thing, that is first entity that lies into the application is the subject, right? So this is the top order field which has chapters and other quizzes, right? So you see this, there is a hierarchy. On the top level there is subject. Okay, so this field of study in which the user wishes to give the quiz, the admin will be creating one or many subjects in the application, right? Every subject can possibly have the following fields. These, you can add any fields if you want, you can have more fields if you want, but these are the bare minimum fields that we feel should be there. Okay, a subject can have these. So obviously primary key will be there, name of the subject, description of the subject. If at all you feel there is any difficulty level to the subject, stars to the subject, anything. I cannot think of anything now, but if you have anything else that you feel important to store about the subject, you can add that as a attribute. Okay, within a subject there will be a chapter. Okay, so every subject will be subdivided into multiple modules which are called as chapters, right? So you can relate it with any test series that you are that you may have given in the past, right? The possible fields of a chapter can be primary key, name, description, same thing, right? But these additional field will also have attributes to store the foreign keys, right? Because obviously there will be relationship established between these, right? As I said, there is hierarchy, right? So every subject will have multiple chapters. This means there is a one-to-many relationship, right? So that field will should be added here, right? So that is there. Next,
Sir, foreign key as a subject ID, right? For chapter.
Yes. Yeah. Let us, we'll go into that details also. What is a probable, most probable model structure that you can have for this application, that also will go through. Okay. Then every chapter will have a quiz. Again, the next level of the hierarchy is the quiz within a chapter, right? So quiz is nothing but a test, which is to evaluate user understanding of any chapter, right? So I hope this is very clear, right? What will a quiz have? Quiz can have obviously primary key, chapter ID, where this quiz belong to, which chapter this quiz belong to, date of the quiz, duration of the quiz, right? How long the quiz will go on, right? Any remarks and additional fields. Okay. Apart from this, if you think anything needs to be stored, you can add, right? I think instead of remarks, this should be, let's say, marks, or if I think that is covered in the other statement. No. So you can have marks of the quiz, right? Score of the quiz. Okay. So that is there. Within a quiz, what do you see? There will be multiple questions, right? So every quiz will have a set of questions. All will be created by admin, right? So the admin will be the one who will have CRUD authority for subject, CRUD authority for chapter, quiz, and questions in the quiz, right? So every quiz will have a set of questions created by admin. Possible fields, again, you can just go through, add your own if you want to, right? Okay. Scores. Okay, now scores are the details of the quiz. Now this score is definitely related to a quiz, right? So sorry, a question or a particular quiz, not exactly question. They are not directly related to the question, but a quiz will have a score, right? I mean, obviously you put a quiz score when you want to evaluate a grade, not your actual question score. All the question score will together create a quiz, right? Quiz score, right? But a quiz will have a score. So there will be a relation between scores and quiz. Okay. Also, there will be a relation between scores and user, right? Because two users can attempt same quiz and can have two different scores, right? So, for example, if there is a quiz of, let's say, 50 marks, somebody scored 40, somebody scored 30, but who scored what? That information you need to store, right? That's why this score model will have relationship with two things. That is why we have mentioned quiz ID and user ID. Okay, so every quiz will have a particular score, can have more than one scores. Why? Because of two reasons. One is I can reattempt a quiz multiple times, therefore I can have multiple score for a single quiz. That is one reason. Second reason is multiple other users can attempt same quiz, so every user will have a different score, right? So one quiz can have multiple scores.
Can I
And
ask?
yeah, just let me finish this. And one user also can have multiple quiz, hence can have multiple scores, right? So therefore there is a this trio relation between, I'm not saying there is a, you know, a new type of relation, but you have to break it down into forms of one to many or many to many. Okay, so that is there, right? So as I said, all the above fields are not exhaustive. You can have more fields if you want to. You have to decide that, add that, and make the corrections as and when required. Okay, so these are the terminologies. Now you can ask queries.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh, Sir,
Just one question.
what is the marking criteria of the questions? If we give a specific marks for to a question, or give 1 marks to that one question.
You can give specific marks. So you can, I mean, either you give 1 marks to a question, so every question will have 1 mark. Number of question equals to total score of the
Yes.
quiz. That is one thing. You can go ahead with that, no issues. But if, let's say, if you want to categorize questions into easy, medium, hard, okay, and you want to give, let's say, 1 mark for a question, 2 marks for a question, then you can have one more field, right, where you will give marks of the question.
Okay. That
Right?
is
So
not
this,
mandatory restriction on that, right?
no. Yes,
Okay.
both are possible. Whichever I told right now, both are possible.
Okay.
So, is a, I mean, any question can be part of two quizzes? I mean, is it that way? Or?
It can be, but let's not do that. Let's have, for example, even if I have exactly same looking question, let's create one more entity in the question, but relating to another quiz.
And there will
That will
be
be easier to
quizzes.
implement.
One subject will have one quiz or multiple
Again,
quizzes.
multiple quizzes. There can be multiple quizzes.
Okay,
That's why
so
we are saying one to many relationship in this hierarchy. So whatever you
yes.
see, it starts from, let's say, chapter, right? Course. It starts with a course or a subject, The second thing in the hierarchy is the chapter. So one course can have multiple chapters, which in turn can have multiple quizzes, and every quiz can have multiple questions, right? So all are one to many.
So suppose a user attempts a question second time, he attempts a quiz second time. Will his marks be updated or both the marks will be saved in the
Let's save
system?
both the marks because we also want to see progress, right? Let's save both the
Okay.
marks.
So where do we save the 2 marks? In the scores?
In the scores. So you can see the scores. It has two things, right? Quiz ID, user ID. So for example, I can have this combination, right? For example, quiz ID, sorry, the score ID is 1. Okay. The first attribute. Let's say score ID is 1. Okay. Quiz ID is 1. User ID is 1. Okay. If I reattempt this quiz, what will happen? Primary key will remain same because we are talking about the same. No, no. The primary key will change because
Sir,
now we
you
are
are
adding
not
a
clear.
new record. Not audible? One
Yeah,
second.
you
You
are
are
audible.
not clear, sir.
Yes, sir, you are.
Not clear.
Yes.
Okay, let me just wait. Let the connection stabilize.
Now is stabilized, sir.
Yeah, there is some option, some
Yeah.
issues with my network. Mm, where am I? Here. Okay, so you are creating a new entity in the score, so the primary key will change. Okay, quiz ID will not change and user ID will not change. So that is a question of reattempt, right? That is a case of reattempt. So since you can create a new ID, new record into the quiz, sorry, score table, you can just save single quiz score again and again and again, right? What needs to be made sure these are not unique.
Yes, sir.
And obviously they will not be because generally foreign keys are not. That is why we are establishing one to many.
But if the user reattempts the quiz, then the quiz ID and the user ID will be the same for two primary IDs, no?
Yeah,
For
so what
two
happens?
primary. Okay.
What is wrong with that? It is a new entity, right? See, I mean, obviously you can decide on that. I can just say, okay, I just wanted to reattempt. Let me not create a new record. Let me just update an existing record. You can do that. Okay. If you don't wish to store my previous marks or my trend of the same quiz, just update, right? If you wish to save that, just create a new record. That is the whole thing. Both the approaches are correct.
Okay, sir.
Getting now?
So,
That's what I'm saying.
just one question. How to incorporate timestamp of attempt? Can you give an idea?
Timestamp of an attempt. This thing.
Yes, sir. How to
Yeah.
incorporate?
So okay. So what you do is, for example, you have this record, right? So what is happening here? When you create, okay. So this quiz. Okay. So when you create a quiz, the quiz will be available as an admin. I'll create a quiz. Okay. So what will I give? I'll give the primary key of the quiz, chapter where it belongs to, date of quiz, time duration of the quiz, everything I'll give. Okay. The quiz element or the quiz entry is will be created into quiz model. Okay. Now what happens is at the same time we will create a score model wherein a score entity is created and quiz ID is created. That's all. User ID is not created because we don't know who has given it. Nobody has attempted it. Right? Are you getting this? So every
Yes, sir.
creation of quiz, every creation or every creation of a new entry of a quiz model will also lead to creation of a new entry in score model.
Yes, sir. That connection is fine, but I
Okay.
was unable to get that timestamp. I mean, which time? For example, 1:30 and some seconds. So how to get that thing? I was not able to.
Yes. Okay. Now what will happen? Let's say I am a now user. Now I have logged in as a user. Okay. The moment I start a quiz, the moment I click on start quiz, what will happen? The timestamp, I will retrieve the same entry because now I know what quiz I am starting, right? And since I am doing it, the user ID is there. At that moment, I'll record the time using date time module and I store this element.
So
Are you
that
getting
is
this?
to be stored in quiz ID, right? I mean that quiz table.
No, why is that? Because see, every quiz is a single entity. right? But let's say you give the same quiz now, I'll give one after later. So 1 hour later, what will happen?
Sir, this is like a exam time. 3 hour exam time. When will be the starting time of
No,
the
that
exam?
is not my question. I'm saying that, let's say if I add that timestamp, okay, timestamp of the quiz, in the quiz model, if I add that, what will happen? Either I can store when you gave the quiz, or I can store when I gave the quiz. Are you getting
Okay, sir.
this?
Understood. Understood.
Understood, no? But when I'm giving a score, every score is specific to a user for a quiz, right? So I can just keep on repeating it. You can attempt it, and when you actually attempt and submit the quiz, only then I want to store the timing. So therefore, it will come under scores table instead of quiz table, because timestamp is specific to who is giving and when, right? It is not specific to a quiz.
Okay, sir.
So, sir, you are saying that if a person reattempts the quiz, then another primary ID for the score will be created
Yes,
with the same quiz ID and the user ID as the foreign key.
correct. Right. So
Okay.
what will happen if,
With different timestamps.
correct, right? So
Okay.
if I am the user and I give the same quiz, so what is changing? Nothing is changing, right? Not a quiz, no quiz ID is changing, no user ID is changing, because I am the same user. Okay, what will only change? Primary key. And why is that? Because I want to store my past scores. That is the only reason behind creating a new entry.
Can we store it in a list? The amount of number of scores, can we store it in a list? But
You can store it in a list, but that list has to go as a string into the database, right? So that storing issue will be there.
Or you can
okay.
implement that a function to it store only the recent five recent marks.
That's what. So yeah, so that's what. So either you may see, if you don't want to store any past history or past score, just update the score, right? So it will be updated with the current or the latest score of a
Latest.
particular user. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It is up to you whether you want to store the past trend for a particular quiz. Then you create a new entry. If you don't want to store, update an existing entry, because what is going to update? Only the score. Correct? Clear, no? Or is there a okay?
Yes,
So I
sir.
mean,
Yes.
obviously, you go through this again. If there are any other other constraints that you see, we'll bring it up back again and discuss later.
Sir,
Hmm.
I, I have a question.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Sir, just like you tell, like in subject, there are multiple quizzes, and in quiz, multiple questions.
Right.
Sir, suppose someone pick a subject and start a quiz, set of questions they see, and after, for example, he passed the quiz. Take. After that, he reattempt the quiz. So the same set of question will be come as second time, or the next another set of
Yes, for
questions.
simplicity, let's keep the number sequence and the question same.
Okay.
What you can do is to make sure that does not happen. What you can do is, let's say, even if you want to create a quiz, a good quiz, you create a quiz entry using admin account. Add, let's say, 50 questions.
Yes, sir. Add of questions. Yeah, list of questions.
Right? Add 50 questions into it for the same quiz. But while creating quiz and making it available to the user, pick randomly any 10 and show it. Right? So in
So,
that
matlab,
sense,
like every time the questions will be changed, na, sir?
different. Yes. So
Okay.
that is adding complexity, right? Only adding complexity, no concept. That's why it is not mandatory.
Okay. And sir, one more question. This timestamp of attempt, sir, we need to store starting time and ending time both.
No, only starting time.
Only
Anything you
starting.
can store, either starting or ending. No need to store
And
both.
sir, this timestamp should be in like hour, minute, seconds, day, month, सबको anything.
No. Hours and minutes is fine.
Okay, ठीक.
When did you give the quiz? When did you give the quiz? Like yesterday, 7:30. That's all.
Okay, got it.
Right. So time and seconds, time and minutes. That's all. Okay. Maybe date, because
So,
obviously I said
sir,
yesterday 7:30.
Date will be beneficial, sir. Date and time.
Date and time. That's all. Okay. So date, you can store it as a date time object.
Okay.
By
So,
default,
sir,
it store any date, time, month, year, hours, seconds, all the
Yeah,
things.
correct, correct. Every by default it stores everything, so you don't have to worry about
Hmm.
that. You just have to retrieve relevant information.
Yes.
Sir, sir, each subject will have many chapters, and each chapter will have only one quiz, right?
Each chapter can also have multiple quiz, not an issue.
so sir, which type of question type is mandatory?
Only
Like,
MCQ is required. You can go ahead and add MSQ also, but only MCQ is required from our end. Okay, I think somewhere we have mentioned, what is it called? MCQ only. Somewhere we have mentioned no, MCQ.
Yes, I need to mention
Top.
only MCQs.
Delete SOC.
What?
So see, this SOC is actually MCQ. SOC is single option correct. So it is MCQ.
Only one option will be correct.
Okay, are we clear till this?
Sir, one more doubt.
Go
Like,
ahead, go
should
ahead.
the quizzes be timed? Like, from the moment we enter the quiz, like
Hmm.
3 hours, after 3 hours, it should say that time is exhausted, or
Correct,
like
correct.
go continuously. Right?
Right,
Till
yes.
he presses submit button.
Yes. Are
So
you
just,
asking or?
yeah, I'm
No.
asking, sir, like, should we keep some time limit for the attempt, or like until he presses submit button, it should be available?
Both. See, for example, if I start a quiz and the quiz is 30 minutes long, okay, I'm trying to give a quiz which is 30 minutes long. Okay, so two things. The quiz should end automatically after 30 minutes. Okay, that is one thing. But if at all I feel that, okay, I am done with the questions, either I know everything or I do not know much of it, I am done within 15 minutes, I should be able to submit at any time. Okay,
Okay,
but
sir,
let's say, but I cannot proceed further than 30 minutes, right? After 30 minutes, it should end.
okay, sir. And also one more doubt, like, will the quizzes have some specific time schedule? Like the end term exam or quizzes happen on every Sunday and like
Right. No. That
afternoon
is
or
not
forenoon.
required. That is not required. It is like a test series, right? Test series you give at your own pace.
Okay, sir. Anytime. Okay.
Once the moment the quiz is created by the admin, it will start appearing on user's dashboard. Right? There is no filter on which quiz will appear and which will not. All the created quizzes will be appearing there on the user dashboard. User will decide which one to select and start giving. Okay. The moment user starts a quiz, the timestamp of everything will be noted and will be added into scores table. Correct. Once the user starts giving the quiz based on the time of that quiz, right? So there is this time duration of the quiz, the clocks will start ticking, right? Once the time duration is done, the quiz will automatically end. That is one approach, right? That is one thing that we have to implement. And the second thing that we have to implement is also give a submit button, right? So let's say I start a quiz, I feel that, okay, I don't want to continue, or let's say I'm done with whatever I know, I'll just submit and end the quiz. So it will store the marks, right? For every unattempted question, it should give 0 marks. For every attempted question, it should take the mark of that question and give that, right? That is, so that those are the logic that we have to implement and see how it can be done.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay, so are we done with the terminologies? Any confusion in the terminologies? What is what? Obviously, go through it, try to understand. There will be for further doubts. We'll try to clear it in coming sessions and G spaces. Okay, wireframe, it is for you to understand the flow. No need to follow it exactly. No need to go to the UI exactly for your understanding, right? What is
Some
happening
guidance.
when, sorry?
Some guidance only the.
Right, yes. Okay, now let us see the important thing, the core recommended and optional features, functionalities. Okay, all right. I'll take some time more. Okay, so scheduled is 6 to 8, but we'll take some time more. Okay, so the core functionalities are admin and user login. Okay, so admin and user login. Firstly, you need to understand the login and register form with fields like username, password, etc. For user and admin login, it is given, but register and login is only for user. Okay, and for admin, it's only login. Please understand this. We have clarified this quite well, right? The application should have only one admin identifies roles. Therefore, we should have role-based access control, right? So role-based access control we are going to implement. It is a core feature. Okay, then how do we do that? Either then there will be role-based access control, and there will be authorization and authentication, right? So for authorization and authentication, we can either use session and token based security with class security, or JWT based authentication with JWT authentication. Okay, we are going to use flash security. I mean, I'm not yet decided that. We'll see whatever is easy to do. Okay, then the app must have suitable model to store and differentiate all type of users, right? It should be able to store and differentiate users. Why? Because there is a role based access control. Okay, so based on the role, the application should be able to differentiate, okay, who is trying to log in. Okay, that is there. Now what do you see in the admin dashboard? Okay, the admin should be added whenever new database is created, right? So we can use something called as a data store of flash security to add a admin whenever we run the application, right? We can do that manually also, right? As I said before, either you do that manually getting into the database, or you do that programmatically. We will see the programmatic approach, right? That is what we are going to see in the
one question, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if we add admin through programmatically way, so then there is no need to log in as an admin, na, sir? Oh, no.
Why
Okay,
is that?
Sorry. Yes, sir. Okay.
Adding admin is done on the back
Yes,
end
sir.
when you run the application, right?
Got it.
Okay, then what can an admin do? Everything, right? Whatever we discussed about. Admin can create a subject. Admin can create meaning, when I say create, it is all the CRUD, right? Create, update, delete, right? So admin can do CRUD on subject. Admin can do CRUD on chapter. Admin can do CRUD on quiz. Admin can do CRUD on questions. Okay, so all the things will be done by admin. Only user can interact with question or a quiz, only that, right? Only that thing can be done by user, nothing else. Okay, then summary and charts, right? This is very familiar, right? So whatever data you have in the database, just pick it up, analyze it, and plot it, right? Either you do that, or you have everything in a tabular form, so that whatever is happening in the application, who are the users, right? How many users have registered into it? How many quizzes a particular user gives? What is the average score of the user? All these things you can store and show on the admin dashboard. How many questions are created? How many quizzes are created? How many chapters are there? Everything which we are storing into the database, just retrieve those information and show it on the admin dashboard. Okay. At the same time, admin will have a page where he or she can add and edit quizzes, add and edit chapter, add and edit courses, everything, right? So there will be a separate creation pages for these entities, right? Okay, what can a user see? When a user logs in, registers and logs in, what can a user see? He or she will be able to see all the courses are available in the application. Based on the courses, he or she can open the courses and see what are the chapters available in a particular course, right? If they open a chapter, they should be able to see how many quizzes are there in the particular chapter, and directly start attempting. Okay, they can attempt any quiz, submit their quiz. Okay, that they can do. Okay. Also, there can be one more thing. So summary can be added to a user also, right? Obviously, when you are getting into test series, what is the other important thing that you do? You analyze how what is your progress, right? So what are the quizzes you are given? Which quizzes you are scoring more? Which quizzes you are scoring less? What is your, improvement? All those things can be shown in the form of summary charts, right? And all this information is anyway stored into the database. So you can just retrieve and display it. If you have done it, if you have already done it with admin, you can very easily implement the same using for the user. Okay, same approach but for user, right? So that you can do. All right, now here it is there, right? The database must be created programmatically, or programmatically meaning database must be created programmatic only, but the manual creation of database, like simply opening SQLite, creating a new table, that is not allowed, right? We want to see how good you are with SQL alchemy, how good you are with models and everything, right? You can use programmatic SQLite.connect, right? You can use connect and cursor, write the query within the code and do that. But no UI related additions, right? No UI related insertion of table, insertion of relations, foreign keys, attributes, that will not be entertained. Okay. Is this part clear? User dashboard. Okay, for some reason it directly says 7th. Why?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7th. Okay, I'll have to check the sequence. Okay, anyway, so 5 and 6 is missing. Let's see. I'm not missing, there is a problem with numbering. The next thing that we want to see is the backend jobs, right? This is where we will use salary and Redis. This is where we'll see the WSL coming into play, right? So there are scheduled jobs and user triggered jobs. Okay, so scheduled jobs can be two things: daily reminders and monthly activity report. And user triggered jobs can be two things. So there can be two things that you do, either two things, right? So, or you can implement any one of this. You don't need to implement both of them. That is the reason we have done C.1 and C.2. Okay, so user triggered async jobs export as CSV has the same heading, but what can you save, right? What all things can you save? One is you can export all the information that you're storing for user, right? So you can see this user dashboard. So within the user dashboard, we have this last point, right? To be able to see the summary and charts. Can we export this as a report and can users store it? That is one approach. Other thing is you see the admin dashboard. So show summary and chart. So this feature of showing the summary and the chart either in the form of charts or in the form of tables is there with admin also and is there with user also. But to be able to download it as a PDF or as a report, that can be done with either of the one. Okay, no need to do it for all. Preferably do it for user. Why is that? Because obviously a user would want to analyze their data more. Okay, admin also, because as an admin I want to run my application and see what works for users and what not, but preferably go for user. Okay, because we have seen a application where we have done some test series and everything, and it was always better to see what is our approach, what is our progress and those things, right? So the backend job, third backend job, you can either show all the report and everything for a user and for a admin, any one of it. No need to do both. Nobody is stopping you to do both, but as a requirement. Okay, now what is this daily reminders and monthly activity report, right? So let us read. The application should send daily reminders using gchat. Either you use webhooks or SMS or mail, right? Generally student use mail. Anything you can use, either you use Google Chat, webhooks or SMS or mail. Those are doing the theory for the very first time. All these things are covered in the theory part. Okay, theory sessions, these are covered. We'll see. Okay, so you can read this, what exactly is required when you're sending daily reminders, right? So check if the user has not visited or a new key quiz is created for the admin. This is better approach, I feel, right? For example, if I have created a quiz, all the users should know, okay, a new quiz is created. If it is relevant to you, just go ahead, log in and try to give it, right? So this should be the daily reminder that that the user should get. Okay, if yes, then they send them alert asking whether them to visit or attempt the quiz, right? And then you can just select any time. For the demonstration purpose, you can set it as 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? Because while giving Viva, you should be able to show that, okay, every 1 minute or every 2 minutes, the reminder is going for demonstration. Okay, monthly activity report, devise a monthly activity report for user. What exactly did I, as a user, I did into the application? I should be able to see that, right? And then send it as an email, right? So you can read this. If you don't understand this as of now, don't worry about it. We are going to cover it when we see backend jobs in the theory course later. Those who have already gone through the theory course will have this idea, right? So this is what we want to see as a backend jobs. Okay, and then one more backend thing, advanced backend thing that we want to see is caching. Okay, so if there is anything that any particular API call that takes a lot of time, for example, retrieving quiz data, right, the reports and everything, right, for the admin or for the user, what will you do? Basically, you'll do a API call that retrieves all the data to you. It is a time taking job, right? And you would not want to do it every now and then, so better cache it, right? Don't have to cache every other endpoints. Just one or two endpoint caching will also be considered, right? So in a sense, you just have to show that yes, caching is implemented. It does not have to have a very high level of caching or every endpoint being cached. No need to do that. one or two endpoints being cached is more than sufficient. Okay, so that is about the core features. Any query, any doubt here in the core part?
Caching should be in one or two endpoints only. Means just to show that
Yes,
we have implemented. Okay.
right, for the sake of demonstration, right? If you want to take it further, deploy your application for it to use, then you need to identify which endpoints take time and then apply caching. Okay. Any other query regarding the core features? I'll just correct the numbering after the session. Okay. Maybe not now, but later on, if you have queries, we'll get back to that later. What is recommended functionalities? Recommended functionalities is you better your activity reports, right? So as of now, activity report can be, where we see, yeah. So it can be a simple mail showing some textual content that also works, right? And mail, you can use Mailhawk. You don't have to have actual mail being coming in your G space or anywhere, right? You can use Mailhawk to replicate the mail. Okay, but what if I want to create a report which is very good in looking, right? The way we used to give, I mean, now we don't give, but initially we used to give lab assignment reports, right? So you have some good UI which kind of tells you where you scored, where you lagged, right? So that a better UI related HTML or a PDF document that can be done as a recommended functionality, right? Then for showing the charts, either you can use Matplotlib, Chart.js, okay? But if you don't want to get into charts and everything, you can just show a tabular form. So tabular is the bare minimum. Charts and everything is recommended, okay? Then you can use responsive design, right? Add to desktop feature. So this is what is called as PWA, progressive web application that can be installed, that works as an installed application in your system, right? So this is something that you can do. Recommended feature again. Okay, validation. So as of now, we are not really bothered about validation. Okay, what should be the email ID? What should be the password? This many characters long, that many characters long, small letter, large letters. We don't want that. We are not really looking into validation. Okay, but if you are implementing Flash security, I think the mail is in by itself validated, right? So by itself, it takes care that okay, a valid mail ID is added. So that is all right. You can add more validation if you want, be it JavaScript related, be it form validation using HTML, be it coming from Vue.js. All those things you can do, right? But it is again a recommended feature. Okay. And your controllers are actually converted into APIs, right? So why not have a backend validation if you want to safeguard your backend, right? Because here the UI is different, right? So the front end is going to run on a different server, backend is going to run on a different server. So how do I make sure that there is no forgery happening, right? Somebody coming from a malicious website and querying my APIs. So that also we can do. It is a recommended feature. What is optional features? Optional features you can just read, right? So you can have good aesthetics, right? Um, uh, Proper login system with which prevents unauthorized unauthorized things. That anyway we are going to do with Flash security. So this may not come into optional. We can just remove it. But yes, okay. One more optional thing you can do is, let's say you go to into a particular test series application, right? For any particular examination, you are going for preparing for a competitive examination. You want to prepare a test for it. Does it allow any and every quiz to be available to you? No, right? You first have to register for a test series. So that payment part is there, right? You can implement a dummy payment portal, right? So make some quizzes. As soon as the quiz is created, make them available on the user's dashboard. But instead, quiz meaning, yes, a chapter or anything. But instead of making them directly available for attempting, you give an option of registering for it. You click on the register button, it will take you to a dummy payment portal. You click on paid or pay now and everything, you get back to the same page, and now you can give it, right? You can attempt it. So that dummy payment portal you can add. No need to add an actual payment portal. Just a dummy payment portal with a good UI is something you can do, right? Apart from this, if you feel there is anything else that you want to add, things like chatbot within it or these things, I don't recommend those things. Okay, whatever are given in the optional functionalities, I think are sufficient. And obviously you will be done with your core and recommended only, and most of the time will be gone, right? So might not have much time to do the optional functionalities. But yes, if these are also done, then it is well and good, right? So these kind of things qualify your application for a good for a best project set, right? A list of best project is also created after end of every term. So these things kind of help in selection and that, right? So how much effort you have put in, was it simply to pass the course, or to actually create something good, right? Anyway, even if you do all the core features and recommended features also, it becomes a very good application. Okay, because we are bothered about how good application is, how much it does not crash, how much malfunction it does not do. That is a good application than a good looking application. So we're not looking at a good looking application, we're looking at a good working application, right? How good the errors are handled, right? Those things we see. It becomes it does not give a very good idea when you create an application with very good UI, but for some reason it gives you a Jinja error or any error on the page, right? So what does that say? You have put efforts into the UI, but you have not made sure that the application does not crash here and there, right? So that is the thing. So our idea should be to make application error free more than a good looking one. Okay, so that is should be our approach. How are we
How to
going
make
to?
the UI responsive to both mobile and desktop? How to
Yeah,
make that? What
so
is the tool?
basically just use Bootstrap. So all these things,
Okay.
so responsiveness is inbuilt in Bootstrap, right? So you don't have to worry about placements and positioning when you use Bootstrap, right? Then other things like Flex, Grid, all these things make sure that the application still stay organized even if you change the form factor, right? So
Sir,
better to
media
use
query also,
Bootstrap.
no?
Media queries is okay. Media queries, you use Bootstrap, media queries is already internally used.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's what you don't want to get into CSS a lot. So better to use Bootstrap. Okay. Any query till in the recommended and optional features? Yes, go ahead.
So in last time in Mad one, how I implement RBSE is like I'm using Flask login. So what I was doing, I was checking that whether a current user that is stored in cache is an instance of let's say um, service professional or admin. Then if it is, then I'm giving the permission to go to any endpoint. If not, then I'll say that you are not authorized. So
Right.
is it enough, or there will be any other additional thing in Med 2?
Yes. See, as I said, in the core feature, the first point says role-based access control, right? So whatever you did there was done with the help of session-based authentication. You actually had a field into your application, right? In your user model, which identifies who is what.
So
Okay.
it's only based on session, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. But here we are not only looking at role-based access control, but we are also looking at authentication and authorizing, right? So, I mean, role-based access control is anyway there. Okay, who is admin? Who should go to admin dashboard? User should go to user dashboard. But we, at the same time, we are also safeguarding, right? We do not want to, we don't want anybody to just know the endpoint and go to that endpoint directly,
Correct.
right? So both of the things should be there, authentication and authorization, and that is very well done using either flash security or JWT authentication. Okay, so in MAD 2 what happens is, yeah, one more reason, in MAD 1 since everything was controller based, so session based authentication and flash login works well there. But here you are not safeguarding a controller, you are safeguarding an API, right? So you will be more drawn into authentic token based authentication or JWT authentication, basically token based authentication. So flash security or JWT authentication kind of encompasses these two things quite well, so it works well in that sense. Okay.
Okay.
Right, so it's better to use flash security than flash login. Okay, flash login is more of UI based, flash security is safeguarding your backend API.
Understood, sir.
Okay. Okay, evaluation process, I think we have gone into details of this. This is the same thing. Okay, this is the same thing that we saw in the project document. Okay, but I want you to go through this. okay, because it kind of tells you what should be the final video length, how should you approach the this thing, right? The project document and everything. Okay, later on in, let's say, 3-4 weeks later, we will be sharing a template for your project report, so you can refer to that template and create your own report, right? I think one more thing that is there which I should go to is, yes, this will come in handy when you are getting ready for your Viva, right? So what should you look at, or what things should you look at when you are getting ready for Viva, right? Go through this documentation. We have kind of noted or kept in, kind of noted all the queries or all the issues which student faced while giving their Vivas, right? So we have mentioned here what to do, what not to do, and then you will be able to do it, right? So here you see there is also checksum part. You can refer to this and try it now itself. Okay. This will help you, right? So this kind of gives you what to do, when to do, where do you create the file. So you remember, as I said, along with your application, project application, you will have to create a Python file called anyname.py, and then you put this code here, and then you run. Okay, so how it is done, what it shows, what happens if the checksum does not match, what do you do, things like that. All right, so these things will come in handy when you get ready for Viva. But as of now, you should focus on actual question statement and project doc, right? So all the statements, all the documents which we feel are important to you are added to project document. This is the link that you should have, right? Where do you get this link? You may have got a mail. If you have not got the mail, you can go to Viva workflow. Where is it? Here. Okay, here only, right? Viva workflow, and you will be able to see this, right? Full details, project details, guideline document, when to submit, what to submit. Okay, there is one more thing in the project document that I want to, sorry, in the Viva workflow, something called a study resource. Okay, so for mat 2, these sessions were taken by one of our previous instructors, and these are quite kind of 3-4 terms older. We will try to update this, right? So we'll try to update with what sessions we are going to take this term. So as and when the session comes in, it should be available here, so that you can directly go to Viva workflow and be able to get to. So what you see, two things here. One is the type of the session, what actually happened in the session, important parts of the session, important what do you say, tags of the session, what exactly you learn in the session, the YouTube link of the session, and the repository link, right? So I'll be sharing a repository link to you, where I will be pushing my code for you to refer later, right? So all those things will be added here. Okay, so we're trying to give as much as information, as much as study resources that we have for this session. Make most of it. Even if you feel that if you need more assistance, then there will be things like mentorship. Okay.
This is for last term, sir. This is for last term which you are showing.
No, not last term. One of the previous terms, some 2-3 terms back, 3-4 terms back. So it is kind of old. It does not mean that this is obsolete. You can still refer to this. But what I was thinking is to now. As of now, I'm not sure whether I can do it very quickly. But I'll try to see that this gets updated with our sessions. Okay, whatever we're going to have this term. Okay.
Okay.
All right then. So that is basically it. Now we'll take the queries if you have any. Okay, so we have touched upon all the project document, all the documents related to the project, and question statement. Okay, for household service question statement, I'll add the YouTube link for the previous session that we have taken, so you can get both the ideas. Okay, yes, go ahead. I'll stop sharing. We can leave for MLT session, or is this session going to? Yes. When was it, by the way? Oh, okay. It was half hour back.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any doubt?
I have a doubt, sir, but not from project statement. So I'm waiting.
Then what is it about?
Sir, I have a doubt. Actually, you said na like.
Actually, your voice broke.
I am saying, sir, you said ki GitHub account should be from ITM Gmail or a personal GitHub account, but added as a secondary ITM email ID. Okay, sir. Sir, I have an account in GitHub with the ITM email, But the problem is I have added the old Gmail ID. So
Old
is it?
Gmail ID meaning online degree.
Yes, student.online degree.
Doesn't matter. Just try it.
Okay.
Send it from there. Not an issue. We'll see.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
what matters is the student ID, not the domain.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any other query? Yes, you can use composition API. Not an issue. Any API you can use. We will be using single file components, so everything will be there within. Yes, you can use UCDN. Not an issue.
Sir, how hard this L2 Viva?
It depends on how much your preparation is. But anyway, what are
Because
the
fairly L2 Viva in Mad 1 is pretty easy for me.
Fine then. But see, the thing is, you should be able to explain most of the things. So, like I said, you have the experience of Mad 1 level to Viva, right? So you know what depth they go into. Same thing will happen. More or less, it will be same in the sense of questions, but they expect more detailed answer because now complexity has increased because there are so many other things added. Backend jobs are there, advanced features are there, right? Content wise, there are multiple additional features added, content added, so you can expect some difficulty, slightly higher difficulty than definitely Mad 1 level 2.
Okay. Okay.
You will be using CLI, sir, for your demonstrations.
Yes, CLI.
Isn't CLI more difficult to do?
We'll make it easy, no?
Okay.
See, CDN is a bit complicated when you want to maintain your code, right? I'm not saying it is easy or hard. Every answer is situation based, okay, application based. What you want to do exactly, right? So if you are creating a very heavy application, what will happen? There will be multiple HTML files, multiple templates, multiple endpoints. Okay. So to make sure that everything runs fine, what we want to do, what do we do? What do we try to do? Have a very good structure of the application, so that if there is any error, we know where this error coming from. If I want to debug anything, I should know, okay, where I should go to debug something, right? That should be the idea. Okay. Now, when that is the idea of debugging something, what is the approach we follow? We create a very good structure of this application. Okay. Now, what is CLI doing with us? It is doing that for us. Okay. What is it doing? It is creating a very good structure. So what we have to do is we have to only look at or worry about the coding, the actual logic of the application. We don't have to worry about, okay, how they are connected, where they are connected, how data flow is happening, things like that, right? How structuring is happening. In developing terms, it is called as scaffolding. So you make a structure of complete application, right? Once the application is set up, that is, your application is created using Vue CLI, then it is very easy to run and maintain. Okay. On the other hand, Vue CDN is a bit opposite, right? It is easy to understand. Okay, so you understand what is happening. In CLI, you might not understand initially what is happening. What is this linting? What is Babel? What those things are? What is node modules? You might not understand that initially, but very easy to operate. Once the application starts running, it is fine. But in case of CDN, what happens? It is very easy to understand what exactly is happening in the code, meaning in the structure, but later on it becomes difficult to maintain as the code grows. Okay, so the modern approach is using CLI.
Sir, I have started with CDN. So do I have to?
No. You can work on CDN only. You
But then,
can work on
sir,
CDN. See, that's what I'm saying. So if let's say if you are working on CLI or you're working on CDN, the only difference you will see in the first couple of sessions where we set up the project. When we actually get into the logic, everything will be same, more or less same.
okay, sir.
Right? If you've started working with CDN, no issues, go ahead with it. If you have started working with CLI, we'll go with CLI.
I'll be able to, ask the CDN questions.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
I'll tell you how that
So,
is different, what exactly is happening in CDN and how it is different
so
from
white
CLI.
is different from CLI white.
No, it's not different. It's taking more things into consideration. For example, Vue CLI will only work with Vue, whereas Vite is basically a scaffolding tool where you can not only create a Vue app, you can create Vue app with JavaScript. You can create a React app with JavaScript. You can create Angular app with JavaScript. You can create Vue React app with TypeScript. So it gives you a lot of configurations, and definitely it is way faster than Vue CLI. We will also be using Vite. Okay, we'll not be using CLI in fact, but it is the command line interface only. Okay, but anything, if you want CLI, we'll use CLI, not an issue. Vite is comparatively faster.
Sounds
Configurations,
interesting, sir.
yeah, configurations
So,
is easier. It
Wheat is easier, you said?
Vite is faster, and it is more open to configurations, right? So that's what I said, right? Vite and CLI working is the same, okay, but CLI is a bit slower. Vite is quite faster. Vue CLI will only work for Vue.js application. Vite will work for any application: Vue.js, Vue 2, Vue 3, TypeScript, React, Angular, anything. Okay, configuration of Tailwind with Vite is very easy. Okay, later on you'll use Tailwind more, you'll use React more. So understanding Vite is way easier, is kind of important, right? So anything, what we can do is we can do both. Okay, then we'll continue with anyone which you find easier. We'll do with CLI very quickly, we'll do with Vite, then you decide which one to approach, which approach to take, we'll take that, not an issue. Okay, if time permits, slightly I'll go into CDN also, so that you know what the configurations and everything. That is the point with CDN. There is no configuration at all. Just embed it and use it. CLI configurations. That's all. That is the only thing. Okay, but in long run, you will see, okay, CDN somewhat code becomes complicated. You will not observe that a lot in our application, because our applications are comparatively simpler in terms of business logic, right? So you won't see that much. You don't see that those many files, those many controllers, APIs. You don't see that much, right? But when you go to an actual production level application, then it becomes a matter of discussion. Okay.
Sir, one more question. Sir, in GitHub, I need to add Matt to collaborator, na sir?
Yes, for Mat2 project. See, for Mad1 project, new repository, special repository for Mad1 project, and Mad1 CS2003. For Mat2, special repository for Mat2 project, and Git collaborator CS2006.
Okay.
All right, and both repositories should be private. Let me see if I show that. One second. Okay,
Yes,
one
sir.
second.
I send the request.
Yeah, we'll accept it. Don't worry.
Sir, GitHub username should be a roll number.
Yes, preferably.
Okay.
Yes, I'll just show you one thing that you have to focus on while creating the repository, that ensures that the repository is private and it is not shared anywhere. Okay, so you see, when you actually create a repository, you put a name to it and everything, you put a description to it, you add a readme file, everything you do, and then this is where it asks you whether you want to create a private repository or not, right? You see, it is mandatory to set repository as private. So you see the second one, right? You make sure that this box is checked, right? This is selected. Okay, and how do you make sure that the repository is private? You see this tag, right? Let me just zoom it and show you. So when the repository is created, on the top right of the repository, you'll see that, okay, this is private. So this is how you know that my repository is not available to anybody. Okay, so these are the two things that you have to make sure. One is you create a private repository, and second thing, this is to verify whether it was created or not. And anyway, obviously, Git will not make mistakes there. Only students can. Okay, so you make sure that this is taken care of. Every screenshot that you see, every screenshot is the actual next step that you're going to follow. So I don't think if you follow this word by word, there will be any issue. Okay, By any chance, if you see that your collaborator request was sent but it got expired, then you have to just follow the process from step 3, right? Add mad1 and mad2 as collaborator. Don't have to do it from the scratch. Just follow the step 3, resend the request, and it will be accepted. Okay, so that is how it will be. Okay, any query? For CLI, we need 2 terminals, whereas for CDN, I guess we need 1 terminal. Again, suggest for Mat2 project, we'll need at least 5 terminals. Doesn't matter what you do, CLI or CDN. Okay, 5 different terminals we'll use. So that is not that would not be an issue as such. Okay, which 5? What are these 5 terminals? We'll see later. Okay, any other query?
No, sir, we'll be asking a lot of questions in GSpace.
Sure, no issues. We'll see that. Okay, but one request I have is, if you have a query, okay, just try to go 2-3 pages back and see if it was already answered. Okay, so what happens is there is same question being asked again and again, and that kind of spams, right? So new questions are not dealt with. That's why we don't want actual information to get lost. Just see if you're not able to find your query, you can ask. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. So we'll just go through all the documents. So I want everybody who has attended or watching these sessions later, just go through these documents so that we are on the same page from the next sessions. Okay, next session we'll start with the question statement that we work on. I'll explain how do we do, and then proceed with the code. Okay. So there are 2 approaches that you follow while doing the project session. Either you create the actual same project that I am creating. Okay, you create that, understand it, make whatever issues and errors you want there. Okay, understand everything, how things work, and then start working on your own project. Or what you do, you understand from the sessions what is happening in the question statement that we are working on, and modify it and implement the same in your actual question statement. Okay, so that you don't lose time. So both have their own pros and cons. Okay, you can decide on that. But these are the 2 possible approaches that you do. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay then. All right. So if there are no more queries, we'll close it here. Okay. See you on next Monday for the project sessions.
Okay, sir.
All right. So everything will be added to the playlist.
Meantime, what we can do, so we can see the resources on the
yes, go through existing resources. If you are done with the theory course, you can go through existing live sessions. You have the access to the playlist, right? And definitely go through the project document and question statements in detail.
Okay, sir.
Okay then. All right. So we'll close it here. I've taken 40 minutes extra. This is going to be very common. Okay. So in the next coming sessions also, every session will be extended. So you have to be ready with that. Okay. Okay. All right then. We'll close it here. See you for the project on next Monday.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the session.
Thank you. Good night, sir.